What's going on, Consciouztv? Your favorite breakdown commentator, CTV. Welcome to another riveting episode of Consciouztv platform. It is your favorite breakdown commentator, well, CTV. Okay, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Hope you guys have had a wonderful week. It is so much going on in the news cycle, girl, that I literally can't keep up, and I ain't been trying to keep up, okay? We'll talk about that, though. Before we get into the minutia of it, as my boy YB would say, I need you guys to run those likes all the way up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up the video. You guys know that thumbing up the video not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally doing the most. It don't cost you anything, and we need all of that because YouTube is doing various things and making various changes on this platform. So if you are a Bush baby, part of the Replay Gang, or you're active in the chat with me in real time, I need you guys to smash and bully and beat the hell out of that thumbs up button. If you also love everything that the King does, you can also donate to the platform at $Consciouztv on Cash App and or paypal.me/Consciouztv, Conscious spelled with the Z on the end, just like it is here on the channel. Also, make sure that you have your notification bell set to all so that you never miss a day or hour when the King is in fact King. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, your Dark Side, the Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you in fact lay the link. Just let them whores know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, what's going on, Conscious crew? Let me go ahead and speak to you all. Hold on, you guys. Run the likes up, run the likes up, run the likes up, run the likes up. I have been outside gardening for half of the morning. So, I may be looking a little dry. Just a little dry here. What's going on, Rumors and Tea? What's going on, Medusa? Hey, my love. Hey, baby. What's going on, Astro Gal? Hey, Star. Hey, Sin. What's going on, Donna? Hey, Arinda. Astro Gal. Thank you, baby. I'm surprised that I'm looking quite gorgeous. I only got 6 hours of sleep. The past 3 days of my life have been absolutely insane, you guys. Something is happening to me, like something very deep and something very transformative is taking place. And I recently had looked over my birth chart, and I realized that instead of like running away, I need to actually be leaning into every single thing that makes me so uncomfortable. Everything that I've ever ran away from, it's time for me to fully embrace. So I am going through something very deep, something very transformative. It's very powerful. And I'm not quite sure where this is all actually going. I just know that I'm finally in the car and I am going with it. Like, if you looked at my birth chart, you would see that all of my shit is clustered up into one corner, which is so unusual. But I'm an unusual person. Like, mysticism and occultism, unusualness is literally in my DNA. I'm literally hand designed by God to be just an unusual, unique individual, literally. down to my astrological makeup. And if you guys, I may bring my astrologer on and show you guys my freaking birth chart so you guys can just see how much of a clusterfuck my chart is. It really just explains the intensity of my life. It explains why I'm constantly shedding skin, why I'm constantly transforming. Literally, it's just the design of my fucking life, okay? And that goes against my Scorpion nature. My Scorpion nature, naturally, I love things to stay the same. I love predictability. You know, Scorpios are very deeply committed. We can stay with the same car for 20 years, stay in the same home for 20 years, stay with the same friends for 20 years. So the fact that I'm a Scorpio, but I'm on a unique, intense, extreme path that is so multifaceted, it just makes my emotional experience of my life so crazy. But I am slowly getting with the program, and I've been doing it alone, and I'm kind of proud of myself for that as well, because that's one of the things that I need to continue to get very comfortable with, because wherever it is God is taking me, wherever it is I'm supposed to go, and whatever it is I'm supposed to ultimately do in this incarnation, I can tell, baby, wherever it is I'm going, baby, it ain't much I can take with me but myself. That's kind of scary, just a little bit. And it's kind of adrenalizing and exciting, but I'm in the car at this point, okay? So, yeah, all of that. What's going on? What is this? Hey, beautiful. Hey, baby. What is your name? Dirk and Lovely? Oh, is it I don't know. Are these abbreviations? One Dark and Lovely? Maybe? Tell me in the chat. What's going on, Bubs? What's going on, Her Story? Hey, Styles by Stevie. Hey, baby. What's going on, Trevor? Long time no see. Hey, Palace. Hey, Madison. Hey, Auntie Trish. What's going on, Keita? Hey, Ray. Hey, Remy. What's going on, you guys? Hey, Adora. If I never call you guys' name, it's because sometimes, for whatever reason, if you're commenting on YouTube, I can't see you on StreamYard for some reason. Like, there's people that I just cannot see on StreamYard. I don't know what that relationship is or that discrepancy is, but I've noticed that there's people who be commenting and I literally cannot see them on StreamYard. I have to pull up YouTube in order to actually see them. So if I never call you by name, etc., don't charge it to my head. Instead, charge it to the motherfucking game. What is going on, The Real Empress? Hey, D-Rock. We're going to talk about those text messages. Hey, Nicole. What's going on, Nakia? Hey, Latara. What's going on, JoJo? Hey, Tick for Tat. All the Tick for Tat crew in here. Where Deshaun at? What's going on? Hey, y'all. What is going on? Hey, Sexy Less Astrology. Oh, my God. You must have heavy Pluto. I have a Pluto variations in my astrology anyway, just because I'm a Scorpio and we're ruled by Pluto. So I'm also a Plutonian. I would love to, me and you, say less astrology. Email me at Consciouztv@gmail. I would love for you to take a look at my astrological chart and give me your interpretation, because it is a whole mess, but it explains everything, okay? It explains everything. What's going on, sweet baby Ray? What's going on, Kush? One Dark and Lovely. Okay, got it. One Dark and Lovely. Happy to have you here. Hey, Robin. Hey, Britt. Can you talk about Dave? I am. We're going to talk about him in a hot topics. We also want to talk about Trey Reed in a later live stream. I just wanted to come and just get this live stream out of my system because there's a lot going on. And I almost don't even know where to get started, you all. But we're going to get started. Hey, Sherry. So we got to first and foremost talk about these freaking text messages that have been released. I'm kind of a low-key shocked that there is like controversy over these text messages between Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old all-American, Utah, all-white, Mormon, conservative upbringing, MAGA-loving parents, Tyler Robinson, and his roommate, alleged lover, possibly trans. We're going to have that whole discussion as well, okay? Because even the right, even the far right, are questioning the authenticity of these text messages. Interesting. Are even questioning why the DA has only released certain things, etc. We want to get into all of that. Candace Owens and her middle part is spiraling since this whole thing has happened, girl. She has been posting footage of Charlie Kirk doing a goddamn crit walk, girl, trying to make Charlie black again, trying to convince us, girl, that he is not anti-DEI, he's not anti-black woman, he's not anti-Negro, etc. That has been a failing PR mission on her end. So now her and her forehead, girl, have just jumped into the conspiracy theorist of it all. She has and is incriminating everybody for Charlie Kirk's death, from Israel to these fringe sponsors. She's claiming that people are trying to take Charlie Kirk's spot and nobody can. You know, Charlie Luther King, girl, is their king. Charlie Parks, girl, okay? Rosa Kirk's honey, okay? This is their queen, girl. And they are wanting to memorialize him literally as if he is a 21st century Western pharaoh, bitch. I would not be surprised if by the time Trump is on his way out of office in 2028, on his scooter, girl, that there is a fucking pyramid resurrected right in downtown Washington, D.C. of Charlie Kirk, the way that these people are showing their asses. All right, but we got into all of that in the last live stream. I want to get into these text messages first and foremost, because it is a lot, girl, going on. It's a lot, y'all. All right, and hopefully we don't be here long, but I got a feeling, baby, I got that feeling. Oh, I got a feeling, y'all. I got a feeling, baby. I ain't trying to have y'all here for a long time, baby, but I got a feeling. Oh, yes. Let's get into the New York Times, girl, who tried to get me to pay for this website, girl. The way I bootleg and nigger rig my way into this paid subscription, girl, I ain't pay a damn thing, girl. I just use all my illegal tech skills, bitch, to bypass that subscription disclaimer, girl. Okay, so we got to read this quick, bitch, before they catch up with me and block my IP off of Miss NY Times, baby, because we do the free 99 over here. Oh, yes, we do. So the NY Times wrote up an article titled "A Note a GUN and a Mother's Conscience Led to an Arrest in Kirk's Unaliving." Okay? Get into this. In the chaotic hours after an assassin's GUN shot rang at a Utah Valley University last Wednesday, Tyler Robinson texted his roommate and alleged romantic partner back home 250 miles away and said, quote, "Drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard." They're in their nondescript apartment in the fast-growing conservative Utah city of St. George lay a note from Mr. Robinson saying, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Luther King, and I'm going to take it. It would take 33 hours in a frantic manhunt that roped in top-ranking Trump administration officials before Mr. Robinson, 22, was finally apprehended. In the end, it was Mr. Robinson's own mammy who recognized her eldest son's image on the news and began a painstaking series of phone calls that ended with him in custody, okay? So this is interesting, right? Because the initial reports have been that his dad did all of the footwork to get this man apprehended, that the dad noticed the GUN and noticed that this was like his son and blah, 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 and called a pastor who happened to be a retired deputy, and then they took him in to the damn FBI, etc. Now it's the damn mammy girl. Baby, both these motherfuckers trying to get a claim on that $100,000 reward, girl. You know, do I believe that Tyler Robinson's parents would have been this quick to turn in their Mormon son had there not been a $100,000 reward on his head top? Probably not. Like, to this day, there would probably still be a freaking manhunt for Tyler Robinson, okay? It would take 33 hours in a frantic manhunt that roped in top-ranking administration, In the end, it was Mr. Robinson's own mammy who recognized her eldest son image on the news and began a painstaking series of phone calls that ended with him in custody. Criminal charges filed on Tuesday portrayed Mr. Robinson as a left-leaning assassin with pro-LGBT views who spent a week planning an murder that has inflamed America's political hatreds and led to vows of retribution from the highest echelons of government and even talk of civil war. Okay, so right out of the gate, girl, they're already playing in my face with this whole, I can get with the pro-LGBT situation, girl, but this man was not a freaking leftist, okay? He was a registered voter who didn't even vote in the previous elections, okay? However, his grandmother came forward and said that the entire family, from Tyler to both his tired ass pappy and mammy, are all MAGA lovers. And she doesn't know not one of her family members to not be right-leaning. Okay? Now, that's what his own relatives say, girl. The matriarch of the family has said that Tyler is, in fact, a Trump supporter. His parents are definitely registered Republicans. I think Tyler is registered non-something. But the grandmother has put the Make America Again crown, bitch, on all of their heads. And she actually seems to be more goddamn offended that he's being narrated as a leftist, more so than the fact that he's a homicidal maniac who popped one of their own, girl. Like, how dare you say he is in fact a Democrat, girl? The insult of it all. But court papers and interviews revealed the wrenching realizations that unfolded in private as Mr. Robinson's partner and parents in the Red Rock deserts of southern Utah realized that the one-time straight A student and scholarship winner appeared to be the black cod figure being hunted by law enforcement. Quote, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Mr. Robinson's partner wrote to him last Wednesday. "I am," Mr. Robinson replied, "and I'm sorry." Utah prosecutors said that Mr. Kirk was targeted based on his political expression, but they did not offer a more detailed motive on Tuesday as they charged Mr. Robinson with aggravated murder and announced that they would seek the death penalty. Mr. Robinson was raised in a Republican family. The accused described his father as a pretty diehard MAGA, but his political views has intensified and moved to the left over the past year. Shut up to you! Particularly when it came to GAY and trans rights officials have said. Mr. Robinson's roommate and romantic partner was transitioning from male to female gender, and Mr. Robinson told his family that he believed Mr. Kirk had been spreading hate. Quote, "I've had enough of his hatred," Mr. Robinson wrote to his partner in a text message after the outing, according to court papers. Utah officials said that Mr. Robinson's romantic partner had known nothing about any plans to unalive Mr. Kirk and had been cooperating with investigators. Okay, so as much as this is going to be narrated and scripted and used to, of course, spread more discord and division and untruth and misinformation about the trans community, which we've already been seeing out of this administration, who is now entertaining and attempting to take gun rights and gun ownership away from trans people. We have the head of MAGA, Donald Trump himself, basically citing trans people as mentally ill individuals who should not be trusted. This leans into this Western patriarchal, trans homophobic culture that is well bred in the West. So, you know, all on freaking brand for them. However, the interesting thing about it is, as much as they may want to blame this on the trans community, on the LGBT community, the alleged trans lover is the one cooperating and bringing the assailant to justice, is the one who is revealing the text messages, etc., and working with investigators, which is the contrast, because Mr. Robinson is in jail right now, giving the goddamn DA and police a run for their fucking money because he ain't cooperating with their motherfucker. And yes, Utah does have the death penalty by firing squad. You know, they're going to give him the most extreme of charges, and more than likely, Mr. Robinson will lose his life by death of firing squad, which is so barbaric and so Old Testament. Like, who in the fuck on a federal or on a state level legally still uses literal ammunition, GUNs, and a SWAT team to unalive people when we have more humane ways to transition folk from here into hell? Okay, but Utah girl gotta be Bible Belt Tesh. Hold on, you guys. All right, let's get more into this freaking. Utah officials said that Mr. Robinson's romantic partner had known nothing about any plans to unalive Mr. Kirk and had been cooperating with investigators. Investigators have not said whether their relationship was a motive in targeting Mr. Kirk, an outspoken critic of LGBTQ rights. Now, remember in our last live stream, I said that I would not be surprised because remember, unlike, let me not say that. Let me say this instead. Remember, I said that I wonder if the motive for this unaliving was Robinson's proximity to his alleged trans partner. Because we know something that white people do politically is that no matter what their identities are, white people remain loyal to whiteness. So they can be gay, and they're still going to vote against their own best interests. They can be trans, and they're still going to vote against their own best interests. They could be a white woman who white men love to oppress under their sexist, Western, capitalistic patriarchy, and white women will still be aligned and faithful to white male patriarchy and dictatorship. So we know that white people transcend their identity politics and uphold their ethnicity overall. Okay, so you have very much so white conservatives who are gay, white conservatives who are trans, white trans folk, white non-binary folk, etc., who are extreme right. Look at Caitlyn Bigfoot Jenners, for God's sakes. Okay? You know, who can't just figure it out and get it together. We have so many freaking examples. Look at all the Jubilee debates. What's the trans bitch name who's always stirring up controversy and calling herself as a trans woman? Blair, is it Blair White? Okay, look at that bitch, okay? White beyond all else, girl, and she's gonna suck on the testicles and the pussy lips of dominant heteronormative society, girl, and that's the hill she's going to die on. So these are prime examples, girl, that the right have their coons as well. Conservatives have their coons as well. Okay, the extreme right have their shoe shiners and tap dancers as well. All right. So Tyler, despite being a Mormon, etc., happened to be allegedly bisexual, pansexual, transattracted. We don't know yet, and is allegedly in this romantic entanglement with a trans woman. But once again, we're going to get into that whole thing, okay? Because I got questions. All right. Bew Manson, Utah's public safety commissioner, said investigators were still working to unravel Mr. Robinson's personal relationships and excavate his extensive online life to fully understand what might have driven him. Quote, who did he speak to? Who did he talk to? Mr. Mason said in an interview, it's the same thing for digital. What interactions did he have online? What websites did he visit? What may have influenced him in any way? You don't know what's out there until you search for it. The search ultimately led investigators to St. George, where Mr. Robinson had returned after dropping out after one semester at Utah State University. So despite some right-leaning pundits and journalists claiming that, you know, Trump and his orange ass claiming that, oh, he was indoctrinated through the extreme left curriculum in academia. This man only had one fucking semester of college, even though he was a straight A student all through high school and his one semester, but he wasn't even in a university long enough to be indoctrinated by left ideology, okay? Robinson had returned after dropping out after one semester at Utah State University, nearly 400 miles north near the Idaho border. He had been in his third year of an electrician apprentice program at Dixie Technical College. The couple spent much of their time clustered inside playing video games, neighbors said. They had a small friend group and often used the Discord messaging program to arrange times when they could meet online to play video games, according to a friend who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear or retribution. Okay, this is my whole entire lifestyle right here, girl. Okay? A partner who hates human beings and is completely and utterly obsessed with me, and who just wants to sit at home where they can be on a leash and controlled all day, every motherfucking day. And that is their version of, you know, the best life ever, girl. That's why y'all might not be seeing much of me going ahead, bitch, okay? Because I'm getting closer and closer and closer to my ideal living, okay? Because, so baby, I'm with this whole lifestyle here, girl. This me and my man, or me and my men's, honey, a television, good food, and a big middle finger to the chaos of the motherfucking world, girl, okay? It's giving glamorized Little House on the Prairie tease, okay? I'm with it. Mr. Robinson never indicated in those Discord chats that he wanted to harm anyone, including Mr. Kirk, the friend said. After the outing, however, he alternatively joked about being misidentified as the unaliver and confessed to Mr. Kirk's outing in different areas of the platform. In text to his partner after the outing, Mr. Robinson was by turns apologetic, defiant, and affectionate as he mulled whether he could retrieve the rifle used to unalive Mr. Kirk and make the 250-mile drive back home to St. George. He seemed convinced that he could get away with it. Quote, I'm still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet, he said, referring to the cities near Provo that is home to Utah Valley University. Quote, shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Okay, we're going to get into all the text messages. We ain't got to read through all that because we're going to pull them up, okay? Like millions of other Americans, Mr. Robinson's mother in southern Utah had been following Mr. Kirk's outing on Thursday. She noticed that the images of the gunmen that were released to aid the manhunt looked disturbingly familiar. So all these folk who are, you know, who got their masters in theology and are like, oh, these still images don't look like Kirk. They don't look like Kirk. They don't look like Kirk. I mean, they don't look like Robinson. Girl, it's Robinson, okay? And despite you not being able to know the difference between an AI influenced still image from surveillance and a straight on selfie in 4K on a iPhone 17 Pro Max, girl, his own mammy and his own pappy were able to see that this, in fact, was their child. Okay, it was also the rifle handed down to Tyler by his own grandfather that was used to pop Charlie Kirk in the fucking neck. She called Mr. Robinson, the eldest of her 3 sons, to ask where he was. He told her he was homesick and had been there since the day of the outing, according to court records. Mr. Robinson's mother then showed the photo to her husband, who agreed that the gunman looked like their son. Mr. Robinson's father also believed that the rifle, which investigators found in a wooded area near the campus, resembled a gun given to their son as a gift. They messaged their son on Thursday and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. The son did not respond. His parents convinced Mr. Robinson to come to their family home on a quiet suburban street in Washington, Utah, just outside St. George. He was the GUN man. Mr. Robinson implied, according to court documents, but he could not go to jail. Instead, he wanted to unalive himself. His parents reached out to a family friend they knew through the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who is also a retired deputy sheriff, like I told you earlier, and began trying to negotiate Mr. Robinson's surrender. The retired deputy quickly called Sheriff Nate Brooksby of Washington County. All these white-ass neighborhoods. My God. Like, these neighborhood names are so mayonnaise and bland and pale, girl. Just real pale ass names, girl. Like, you can smell the paleness off of Brooksby, Washington County, girl. Girl, isn't that, girl, that's definitely giving old McDonald had a farm, girl. E-I-E-I-O. And his voice shaking reported that he believed that he knew who had unalived Mr. Kirk. Quote, "I never could have fathomed what came out of his mouth," Sheriff Brooksby said in an interview on Tuesday, recalling the phone call. Okay, so that's the sheriff's last name, girl. White as hell. Sheriff Brooksby then called Sheriff Mike Smith of Utah County, where the outing occurred, to break the news. Quote, "I'm explaining to him, hey, I've got the outer in Washington County. We're negotiating on getting him to surrender," Sheriff Brooksby said. Quote, he said, wait, what are you talking about? I repeated myself. He said, hang on, and he put me on speakerphone. Sheriff Brooksby said that Mr. Robinson had been afraid of being apprehended by a SWAT team or being shot by law enforcement and agreed to a low-key end to a favored manhunt. Oh, baby, you shouldn't have worried about anything, Robinson. Girl, they would have brought out the police by the droves, helicopters, the whole 9, tanks, bitch. And then them tanks would have rolled you through a McDonald's or Burger King drive-through, girl. You would have been able to get a Big Mac, a #1, no onions, no ice on your soda, bitch. Okay, girl, you would have been, given fucking fur coats and been given this as a lavish treatment in prison, baby. Okay, you wouldn't have had to worry about being unalived at all, simply because of your paleness. The retired deputy drove Mr. Robinson and his parents to the sheriff's office in Hurricane, Utah, and Mr. Robinson was escorted into an interview room to wait while investigators from the command center scrambled to get on a plane and fly down to southern Utah. Sheriff Brooksby said Mr. Robinson had seemed quiet and somber and asked for a lawyer. The intense law enforcement pressure backed him into a corner, Sheriff Brooksby said. He knew it was inevitable that he was going to get caught. So that's the alleged breakdown on how all this went down, you guys, all right? Now, let's get into these text messages. Then we're going to get into Lance Twiggs, who is the alleged trans roommate lover of Tyler Robinson. Okay, it's a lot going on, honey. Y'all thumbs up, share. Because we got a lot going on. Okay, wait, where are the text messages? Wait a minute here. Okay, here we go. Thumbs up, share. And if you guys are enjoying yourself, make sure that you are donating to the platform as well, you guys. Hold on, you guys. Okay, so let's get into these text messages that got the streets on fire right now, girl. Everybody is confused. half of the alt-right believes these text messages, half of the alt-right does not. It begins with reading. After reading the note, the roommate responded, because remember, Tyler had asked the roommate to look under his keyboard, and once he read it, the roommate said, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson says, "I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer, yet shouldn't be long until I can come home. But I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am so sorry to involve you." The roommate says, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson says, "I am. I'm sorry." The roommate says, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson says, "No. They grabbed some crazy ass old nigga, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of the side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Now, what's crazy about this, right, is that the old guy who they arrested is also being accused of being a crisis actor. Apparently, this man is in footage from the Twin Towers in September 11th. He's also connected to another high-profile unaliving. And here it was, ironically, he was at the perfect place at the perfect time to be caught up in the shitstorm of this ooting. And he was allegedly the one who was saying, "And I'll do it again, I'll do it again, I'll do it again." So this is very bizarre. There's footage of this old man who they apprehended initially, who tried to take fault for popping Charlie Kirk, being involved and being amid all these other extreme historical events. But the crazy part about it is the old fucker fucked himself in the ass by trying to troll, because once they apprehended his ass, they also surveyed his phone and found child pornography on his devices. So this old ass troll is going to be in prison alongside Charlie Kirk, all because he decided he wanted to be a big ass Bozo the Clown and alley-ooped himself into child pornography charges. Girl, this shit can't get more fucking convoluted, baby. Okay, this shit is so wild and crazy. It is insane. It goes on between Robinson and the roommate. "I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some old crazy dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate says, "Why?" Robinson says, "Why did I do it?" Roommate says, "Yeah." Robinson says, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Okay, so Robinson was still in the area. Remember, there is Duracam footage, etc., surveillance footage from the college campus of him on the rooftop, jumping off the rooftop, sprinting away, him moving through neighborhoods on foot to get to the campus, and then him on foot coming back from the campus to get to his car. He apparently now is in his car in real time talking to his roommate, and he is obviously surveying the news to see where they are in their investigation, what do they know, etc. So he's using the fucking news to see what the fuck is going on, because he done fucked around and left this high-powered rifle in the wilderness where, ironically, police said they found the rifle. Okay, he also took a change of clothes. Now, I was watching another commentator's live stream about this, because he was like very confused about some aspects of the footage, especially of Charlie Kirk not Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson on the roof and everything. And he was like, well, it doesn't look like the gun because you can see from the footage. Matter of fact, let's see here. Do I have the footage? Hold on, you guys. Let me see if I can find the footage. Because everything makes perfect sense to me. Hold on. I'm probably one of the only people not confused. Let me see if I can find said footage. Oh my God, it's so many moving parts, girl. You know, I'm going to drop the link. A lot of y'all are not buying the text messages. I don't really know why y'all are not buying the text messages. I mean, I brought them. Charlie, no. Tyler Robinson. Because they do have footage of him leaping from the rooftop like Batman, bitch. Tyler Robinson on roof footage. Do we got some Twitter footage? I don't care what the people say. Scream me up, scream for me. Let me see. I'm gonna have to. Better yet, let me see if I can just find the comment that I wrote, because I left a comment on this. No, this might be too much. This might be too much. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the comment that I left. Hold on, I'm coming. You guys, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Because this was from a few days ago. Well, here it is. I think it's the secular talk. Okay. If you've ever wanted to... Let me see if I can just send this to myself, and then I can pull it up on the screen here. I can pull it up on the screen. And I know you guys are ready to get into hot topics and everything, girl. I'm not going to let you down. We're going to get into hot topics. We're going to get into the mess of it all. Okay, we're going to do it. All right, but, you know, we got to balance the platform, girl. You know, sometimes we got to get into, the, you know, the news that you guys can actually use. Okay, we can't just feed and gorge on diabetic content. We got to keep up with what's going on out here.
All right, welcome to the show, y'all.
Okay, let me see.
We have
Let me send this to myself. You got your one of those likes up, bitch, because I'm working my asshole off of my... Let me pull this up so you guys can see. Okay. Let me see. Because he has the rooftop footage. That's what I'm looking for. Hold on, bitch. Is this it? Is this what I'm there? Okay, yeah, here it is. All right. Damn, but let me get through the text messages first, girl. I'm doing a lot. I thought they caught the person or they grabbed some crazy old dude. Why did I do it? I had enough of his hatred. Charlie Kirk, that is. Some hate cannot be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. The roommate says, how long have you been planning this? Robinson says, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car part right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it, okay? So pretty much these text messages really exonerate the roommate, the alleged trans person in question, who did not know anything about this. There clearly had not been any conversations between Robinson and his roommate, even his Discord friends, at least like his close circle didn't know anything about this, even though he had made certain comments elsewhere on the Discord platform. So his own like intimate, closed-in community had no fucking idea that he felt this way. So this was not something that was conspiring between Tyler and the trans community or the LGBT community, and he had only planned this thing out the week prior, okay? So this ain't even something he had been brewing on for months or for years, etc. I think they already have swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back my grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits, didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I have left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see, quote, notices bulge you woo on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Okay, so one of the reasons why people do not, or I don't know, like a lot of people from the left and the right are questioning the authenticity of these messages because they're too perfect. They're too incriminating. Like, you couldn't get more of a perfect confession, okay? It's like the text messages are literally Bible and are a play-by-play. And people find this to be so unreal. I don't, but I'm going to tell you why I don't after we complete this. Judging from today, I say Grandpa's GUN does not find. I don't know. I think that was a 2K scope. He then tells the roommate to delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty much a diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments of if any police ask you any questions. Ask for a lawyer and stay silent, okay? The reason why I believe these text messages is because, well, I mean, the obvious. If the DA are going to present falsified information, that wouldn't make a lot of sense considering that this thing is going to go to trial, considering that there's going to be a discovery, considering the fact that Tyler Robinson is going to have a lawyer. Obviously, if the DA presents anything that is not authentic, that is not true, this is just going to make the case horrible for the DA. Well, not really so much because he did pop this man. However, Tyler obviously would get to contest all of this. That's not going to be a good look for the DA. Why the fuck would the DA present a completely falsified document? That's going to be challenged by Tyler Robinson's attorneys. Because it's not like Tyler Perry is going straight to jail to a firing squad. He's going to undergo due process, and this case is going to go to court. And yeah, also, for my black people, I want you to remember, girl, y'all are black. This maybe ain't what we would do, but a conservative video game, hopeless, romantic, demented Utah native might incriminate himself to this degree. Okay, we're looking at this through the scope, girl, of being black. This is a 22-year-old white university student who literally didn't even think this thing all the way through, to the point that he left the damn weapon in the wilderness, and then he forgot that GUNs have serial numbers on them. He didn't even bother to scrub the serial number, even though he had planted the thing. And so this is somebody who literally did this on impulse. This isn't well thought out. And as stated in the text messages, his partner was the only person he was concerned about, and he wanted to give his partner every single thing he had before the inevitable took place, now that a manhunt was completely active. You guys do know that Tyler Robinson also isn't the only one who's incriminated himself. Okay, there's an entire sector of YouTube that's dedicated to dummies for criminals, or criminals for dummies handbook, where criminals do the most preposterous, self-incriminating things that make you go, what the, okay? Tyler Robinson would hardly be the only dumb criminal to ever fucking exist, okay? This is how criminals get caught to begin with, because they leave a trail of bullshit behind, of self-incriminating evidence behind, whether it's call logs, whether it's look at the old man in this case, right? Who sat his ass at this event, calling himself trolling after Charlie Kirk was popped, and did not think about the fact that, oh, once you're apprehended, girl, they're going to investigate your ass accordingly, and completely forgot that he had child pornography in his phone. This is literally how stupid people are. Okay, look at how Trump thought he was going to get away with allegedly cheating on his wife while she was pregnant with an adult film star, etc., girl. All that tea came out during trial. His cover-up, etc., girl. Criminals do dumb shit. They're not per se geniuses. Okay, so you projecting yourself onto Tyler Robinson doesn't make any damn sense, okay? Just because you think you would be smarter than this, and just because you think you would have made decisions different from this, doesn't mean someone else wouldn't have made all of the contrary. And he is talking to his most entrusted confidant in this situation, which to me explains why he's running his mouth a mile a minute and why he's being so transparent. Okay? Now, Lance Twiggs. Let's get into Lance Twiggs, the alleged trans roommate. Okay, this is an article from Hindustan Times, okay? Who is Lance Twiggs? All on Tyler Robinson's roommate amid reports that he lived with trans partner. Lance Twiggs is 22-year-old. It's a 22-year-old who aided the FBI in Tyler Robinson's arrest by sharing texts on the GUN used in Charlie Kirk's outing. They lived together in Utah. Lance Twiggs, a 22-year-old from Utah, has shot into the headlines for being the roommate of Tyler Robinson, the suspect in Charlie Kirk's outing. The Daily Mail reported that Twiggs played a key role in Robinson's arrest on Friday by providing the FBI with incriminating texts where Robinson discussed stashing a GUN that was used to fatally oot Charlie Kirk. Twiggs, along with 3 others, one of them reportedly Robinson's trans partner. Oh. Hold on, wait a minute. So this article wording is interesting because this article is practically establishing that Twiggs, who's being cited as the trans partner by other outlets, actually is one of the roommates, not the actual trans partner. Because it says here, Twiggs, along with 3 others, one of them reportedly Robinson's trans partner, lived in a 3-bedroom apartment in St. George, Utah. Lance Twiggs was named in a report by the Daily Mail on Saturday, revealing that the 22-year-old wannabe gamer had played a key role in the identification and the subsequent arrest of Twiggs. The report does not say that Twiggs was transgender or that he was Robinson's partner. The Mail asked Twiggs' grandfather about it, but he refused to confirm the same. Meanwhile, the New York Post reported, citing a source in law enforcement, that Robinson was living with a transgender partner who was undergoing transformation. The alleged trans partner has not been named or identified. Okay, so we got more confusion and muddying amidst the situation, okay? Because they're using Lance Twiggs' pictures and involvement in this investigation and citing Lance as the transitioning partner. But apparently, Lance Twiggs and the images of the person in the fur baby outfit is not the partner, but only one of the roommates. The alleged trans partner isn't communicating, or at least hasn't been identified by the FBI yet, girl. So this can sometimes be the problem with media and the FBI and the DA and prosecutors when you get to mixing and trying to disseminate information, and then it gets shaped by the authors of these blogs, etc. And then you don't know really what the fuck actually is taking place, because now I don't know what the hell to think. But this Lance Twiggs person apparently is not the trans partner. The trans partner has yet to actually be identified. Meanwhile, the New York Post reported, citing a source in the law enforcement, that Robinson was living with a transgender partner who was undergoing transformation. Despite social media linking Twiggs with the trans partner, no report suggests that they are actually related. Ever since the Daily Mail reported on Lance Twiggs, which came in the backdrop of the reports on Tyler Robinson living with a trans partner, Twiggs has made it to the tabloid headlines. As per the Daily Mail, they studied at Utah Tech University and was an avid gamer. They are active on TikTok and posted multiple videos regarding his gaming activities and the ambition to become a professional gamer. Since then, interest sleuths have researched Twiggs and dug up information on him. Facebook connections have revealed that Twiggs was the son of Amy Twiggs and Tyler Twiggs. They are from St. George, Utah, and lived near Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk was ooted. Lance Twiggs and the suspect in the Charlie Kirk ooting, Tyler Robinson, were roommates, but they knew each other via their love for gaming. So they bonded over being nerds. As revealed in the Daily Mail report, Twiggs, much like Robinson, was an avid gamer before they became roommates. They were connected via a group chat of dozens of gamer friends, in which most members were from Pine View High School, where Tyler Robinson studied. So what is going on? What do you guys think? What's going on, Nichelle? Lance could just be a furry or feminine man. That's what I was getting from Lance Twiggs. That Lance Twiggs is giving like androgyny and giving like femboy. But you know, the media is dumb, and they just, you know, if you wearing makeup, if you got long hair, they just gonna go ahead and narrate you as trans, as if there's not like a whole spectrum in between the binary and in between transgenderism. Androgyny is in between there. Cross-dressing is in between there. You know, all of that. Gender bending is all up in between there, not per se trans, okay? But apparently this Lance person is not the transgender roommate, but is a person who is cooperating with investigators. Now I want to bring up Secular Talk, who also posted the footage of Tyler Robinson scurrying off the rooftop, etc., upon popping Charlie Kirk, because he was utterly baffled by the way this thing is being reported on. by outlets, and it is a lot of confusing information. You have the right who is insincere, have no integrity. I can understand why people are questioning the information. And then I would encourage folks, question everything. Question the text messages, question the authenticity of where the information is coming from, because we are dealing with a administration and a certain aspect of our society that has a wild hair up his ass for the right. And JD Vance is on camera prior to winning the VP presidency saying that he believes in using fake news. They believe in the weaponization of narratives if it means getting their hopes and dreams and their agenda fulfilled. So by every means, question all the motherfuckers. Question every goddamn thing, okay? But secular talk is also confused right now on what the fuck is going on. This is fair use, of course. Shout out to Secular Talk. Follow him on Instagram, etc. And we're going to do a fair use. And he has some good footage here. Let me blow this up and listen to his commentary. Oh, wait a minute. Let me give me a one if you guys are able to hear the audio.
And you're going to take note of something very important in just a second. So here, let's play it. He's running on the roof. Where's the rifle? He's holding something, but it's not the size and shape of a rifle. Okay, so let me go back. I'll play that one more time for you. So he's running on the roof, and you're going to notice there is no rifle in sight. There's no rifle in sight. Ready? He's running on the roof. There's no rifle there. He's running normal. He's not limping. He's got something in his hand, but it's not the size and shape of a rifle. Okay. Now, here's what they say. They say, oh, well, after he did the shooting, he disassembled the rifle, and that's why he's not running with a rifle there. Okay. All right. Well, then here's the question. The feds also say, we found the rifle in the woods, and it was put together. It was fully put together.
Which does correspond with what Tyler Robinson allegedly said to the roommate, that he left the rifle intact in the wilderness because he was trying to haul that stuff out of there.
So according to them, he shows up with the rifle assembled, walks to the school with the rifle assembled. And
what Secular Talk is talking to is like online investigators, girl. You know, online conspiracy theorists are trying to put this whole thing together because the footage don't make sense to some of the narratives. So some people are saying, well, you know, because there are, hold on, let me see if I can just fucking rewind this back. Let me just rewind this back a little bit. Let me see. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Okay, so check this out.
If you live in a South Carolina zip code,
he paying them bills. Y'all pay him $200 by thumbing up, sharing, subscribe, and hit that donation. Child, yes, God.
College. He parked elsewhere and then walked there. And this is him, I think, after the deed is done, walking through the back. But okay, so you saw what he was wearing there. Black shirt, jeans, walking with a massive limp. Okay, ready? Now, according to the official story, he goes there with a gun, right? But then, okay, well, this is weird because as I'm going to show you, here he is like walking up the stairs to get to the roof. Where's the gun? Where's the gun?
Now, people saying, where is the gun? I think the gun is still in his pants, because if you look at the way that he's walking, look at how he's turned. He's walking up the steps sideways. Look at the way he's leaning going down. So at this point, he knows cameras are amid. He's about to walk through a public facility to get to the rooftop to pop Charlie Kirk, who's 200 feet away. And at this point, he's really trying to straighten up. He's really trying to look non-obvious. He's really trying to look normal. That very powerful limp that we saw him with on the ring cam footage as he's traversing through the neighborhood to get to the campus, he's now really performing because he needs to be incognito. He doesn't need to stick out like a sore thumb. He's already Brad in a hat with shades, etc. So I believe at this point, which is why I would love to see the raw footage rather than the still shots, because these are just still shots. But obviously, the rifle is still tucked in his pants, strapped to his leg, and he's just trying to appear very normal because now it's lights, camera, fucking action. This doesn't look like, these things don't look abnormal to me, because if I had to put myself in Tyler Robinson's shoes, I would be doing the same thing. He didn't have any reason to walk as normal as possible through the neighborhood because he was thinking that he was in the clear then. He wasn't even thinking about door cam footage, etc. So of course the limp is more pronounced. But if you're trying to get away with a crime, and now, baby, you're on scene to where you're about to commit your wrongdoing at, this is where you're going to straighten up the most so that you have the best odds possible of getting away with what you're trying to get away with. So there's nothing that looks unusual to me about this images that goes against the narrative. And if anything, I can still see really him trying to pull off not limping even in the images that we have. Because why is he walking up the stairs sideways? Because he still has that fucking rifle. Look how he's walking down the stairs. All that makes sense to me.
Where's the gun? Now, what they say is, okay, so he walked there with the rifle.
And we know that it did fit in the pants because they have him on. I played the door cam footage of him walking through the neighborhood to get to the campus of him limping with a hard limp. Secular Talk may show that as well.
Clearly, based on the TMZ video, he was limping, right? Okay. Then when he gets there, in order to get to the roof with the rifle, he disassembles the rifle and puts it in his backpack. Now, there's one major problem with that story. This particular rifle that he used is notoriously difficult to break down. In fact, it takes tools, it takes know-how, and it takes time. There's not really a rifle that's meant to easily be broken down and put back together. So he goes there clearly limping with the rifle in his pants. Mm-hmm. Then in this picture, in the stairway, all of a sudden, where's the rifle? Well, they say, oh, it's in his backpack, so, you know.
It's not in his backpack. It hasn't been disassembled. It's still in his fucking pants.
That's the logical explanation. All right, well, let's keep going. So then, according to them, he gets to the roof, puts the rifle back together, does the shooting. There's also, I'm going to throw another curveball at you. He shows up in a maroon shirt, they say. This is what the officials say. He shows up in a maroon shirt. Then he puts on this black shirt. Then he gets to the roof and puts back on the maroon shirt. Then he finishes shooting and puts the black shirt back on and leaves. Getting a little weird, but wait for it. Okay, wait for it. So here he is after the shooting. This is when he escapes. And you're going to see that he basically runs on the roof. And you're going to take note of something very important in just a second. So here, let's play it. He's running on the roof.
And he's hauling ass.
Where's the rifle?
Hauling ass. Now he has something in his hand. For some reason, spectators are saying he doesn't, it's not the rifle because it's not in the same, it's not the same shape, etc. This is not 4K footage. And this is what I'm going to need all of my nosy ass, all up in somebody else's business, looking for the literalism of it all as people to understand. What he's carrying in his hand is obviously the fucking gun. No matter what it doesn't look like, that's obvious the case. And because this is 720p footage that's not in 4K, is also shot from afar. Of course, the rifle is not going to look super distinguishable. But obviously, what else would he be running across the rooftop fucking with if it's not the goddamn rifle? Conjoined with the text messages of him literally saying he left the rifle in the wilderness. So yes, he took the rifle intact from the Udi, which of course he would because he's not going to sit on the fucking rooftop. He know that he just popped Charlie Kirk. Now he got to haul ass, get out of there. He's not going to sit on the rooftop and disassemble this hard to disassemble ass gun. He already has a designated spot where he's going to transition out of his clothes into the clothes he's going to run the rest of the way with, which we're going to get into as well. And the item that you guys see here
He's holding
is the actual fucking rifle. Now look at how grainy and pixelated this footage is. The fact that spectators are literally talking about, well, that's not the gun. That's not the gun. It's not the right shape or form, bitch. As if you're looking at some up close, like you're not looking through the same scope he looked through on the rifle to pop Charlie Kirk with. You're looking at piss poor rooftop surveillance and 720, 420p. And you almost can't even hear at all see the rifle, because that's how poor quality this footage is. So I don't know why people are going so hard to say that what he had in his hand running across the rooftop with was absolutely not the GUN, because you can't really absolutely say that. He's not even saying that.
in shape of a rifle.
Okay. And then you can literally see the rifle when he leaps down. And I'm gonna blow this up. You can literally see the fucking rifle. Okay, the rifle's here.
He's holding something, but it's not the size and shape
Then you see this long ass item here.
of a rifle.
He literally puts it over his fucking shoulder at this point. Let me blow this up. You can literally see the arm of the gun.
Very important in just a second. So here, let's play it. He's running on the roof, running on the roof.
Hold on. I'm fucking up the thing, child. Hold on.
Okay, so let me go back. I'll play that one more time for you. So he's running on the roof, and you're going to notice there is no rifle in sight. There's no rifle in sight. Ready? He's running on the roof, running on the roof.
There is a rifle.
No rifle.
It is literal.
He's running normal. He's not limping.
Look at the whole fucking rifle right here.
He's got something in his hand, but it's not the size.
Look at this whole thing. Look at the whole rifle is right here, you guys. Is it just me? Is it just me? The whole fucking rifle is right here. You can see the whole length of the fucking rifle. Do you guys see where my cursor is? Hold on, let me. I can't believe that people have these 420. Not only was the footage 420p, people's eyesight is 420p.
Size and shape of a rifle.
The whole fucking gun is right there in plain freaking sight. All right, let's just.
Okay. Now here's what they say. They say, oh, well, after he did the shooting, he disassembled the rifle, and that's why he's not running with a rifle there. Okay. All right.
Okay, so I left a comment under Secular Talks, okay, and I said this. Him changing clothes makes sense because he parked far away from the event and knew that he'd have to travel on foot through the city to get back to his car. He probably wanted to disguise himself to the best of his ability, since all this was also happening in broad daylight, and there is footage of him trailing back to his car with those light-colored shorts on, because I played it on my channel. As for the object in his hand that people are saying is not the GUN, it literally would have to be, because there's no other explanation for what it is, and it was found in the woods allegedly. That footage is grainy, and things do look heavily distorted on camera, so it's not like we're looking at perfect 4K footage, so keep that in mind. As for where is the weapon during his commute up the stairs, I'd like to see the footage rather than see images, because he very may have limped up those stairs just like he did through the city. As for the father calling the family priest instead of authorities, the father was probably at that point more concerned about his son unaliving himself and his soul's salvation afterwards, hence them being Mormon. Since Tyler said he'd rather die by self-deletion, so the dad clearly wanted to clear that before taking what should have been the actual first step to take, which is calling in the authorities. Look, and this is why I don't necessarily consider myself to be like a conspiracy theorist, because like I do entertain CPs. However, I'm one of those people, like, it really got to make sense. And I'm somebody who also doesn't jump to conclusions. I try to really analyze shit, look at things, and be true to what's really taking place. And if we have to fill it in, we got to fill in the gaps in a very intelligent way. But so far, to me, everything is making perfect and utter sense. Okay? Now, Tyler had his first court appearance. Let's take a look and a listen at this.
Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Graff. Mr. Scortis.
Thank you for being here. Where else would he be, bitch? On the run?
Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Graff. Mr. Scortis.
Oh, that's all they got, child. This got to be some more footage of this. Okay, so he had his first court appearance, child. All that is all of that. Apparently, he's not cooperating with authorities. Also, Yahoo had wrote up an article called "The Keystone Caches Cops and Chaos Over Trans Ideology Bullets." Before I show you guys that, I want to show you guys this. T sent this to me, and it is of a commentator speaking about this Yahoo write-up. And this commentator is going to explain the gropers, the whole memes situation that's like viral in the like deep Reddit community and all of that stuff, if you have no idea what the hell any of that means.
Early on in the investigation, the Wall Street Journal and others ran a story that there was trans ideology on the bullets inside the weapon that killed Charlie Kirk. That has since been retracted. That was not true. However, what was written on the bullets does tell us a lot about Taylor Robinson and what he was into. I was going to do a whole video on this, and then I saw this video from Aiden Walker that did such a great job breaking it all down and explaining it for people who aren't aware of this corner of internet culture and the fact that this shooting was essentially a shit post. That I'm just going to let his video play. If you have someone who believes that he was trans or liberal or whatever, I encourage you to watch this video. I encourage you to share this with them.
The casing on the shot that ended Charlie Kirk's life was engraved with a 12-year-old furry bashing meme. Notice his bulge, ooh woo, what's that? Which tells us an important thing. This assassination was a shitpost. That is the lens to analyze it through. Another of the casings references a video game, Helldivers 2, and a specific bomb that you could send on your enemies in the game with the command up, right, down, down, down. This command line sort of became a meme in image boards where it would be deployed to kind of represent, you know, ending an argument, but almost more so as just like, if you know, you know. And that sort of signals the in-group there. Another of the 4 casings references Bella Ciao, which is an Italian anti-fascist anthem from the World War II era that has stuck around and remained very popular online. It's been used both in left and right-wing political contexts, and it's used in a lot of video games. And then the 4th and final shell casing was engraved with, "If you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO." This was a shitpost. It was designed to be maximally disruptive and incomprehensible, cloaked in layer upon layer of irony so that nobody would know what he really meant unless they were our guy. This performs a kind of nihilism that plays really, really well on particular image boards and Discord servers where this guy spent most of his life. And I say most of his life because that furry meme is from 2013. He was 10 years old when it was first posted and became popular. He, like you and I, grew up alongside this part of the internet that trickled out through the other platforms that we went on and has actually informed and driven a lot of our politics. Half of the administration right now is content creators, and all of the guys who are wearing masks, going out on these deportation raids, the guys who are staffers of Republican members of Congress in these different executive departments, the guys who are 19 years old called in by Elon to doge things. These are all Reddit kids. These are all guys who were on 4chan in 2013, laughing at that furry meme. Now, the question everybody's asking is, was this kid a groper? And the question everybody's parents are asking is, what is a groper? So Groypers are the most extreme fringe of this kind of image board nihilistic culture that I'm talking about. They're led by Nick Fuentes, who is a content creator and a streamer, and they really are about transgressing any boundary that exists. They are like explicitly white nationalists, really bad, horrible people. The name Groyper originates from this variant of Pepe the Frog, which comes about in the late 2010s, and these guys adopt it as a kind of collective self-portrait. They make it their profile picture, they make it their moniker. There was the Groyper War of 2019, in which Nick Fuentes and his people trolled Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, showing up at these debate events and asking questions that would push Kirk to say things that were even more extreme than Kirk was already saying. So where Charlie Kirk took like one step toward these kind of white or Christian nationalist ideas, the Groypers took 2 steps. They demanded that he make the subtext text. One post people have been citing as proof of the Groyper hypothesis is this one from his mother's Facebook that shows him dressed up as a meme for Halloween. It seems like the meme is Gopnik Pepe, which is a 4chan meme to my understanding, but I don't quite associate it with Poll, which is like the political board on 4chan that most people are talking about it. I see it more as like a K meme and sort of like a rare Pepe type thing. But again, like many Pepe or Groyper memes, the core of this is it's a lonely male figure in sort of an immiserated landscape looking sad. And that's part of the story I wish more people were talking about. What's driving our political violence isn't just polarization, where one side is getting more radical and kind of undermining democracy, nor is it algorithms, like some have said, that are like pickling the brains of young people. It is that feeling, which these Pepe memes represent, of you're always going to be alone, you're never going to have a future, and you're never going to have a voice. And that feeling, which is by no means rare or unusual in our society today, collides with a particular set of circumstances. This long entrenched nihilistic online tradition, the ready availability of firearms, and the increasing derangement of mainstream discourse, this ambient sense of like tension and volatility that exists in the air to produce stuff like this. And we're going to see more and more of it unless those root causes are addressed and unless we find a way to offer a better future to people.
Absolutely.
Early on in the investigation.
Right. So what's funny, and we're going to get a little bit more into that, is that there's people who are still saying that they still can't even believe that this guy is the one who did the Uding because the Uding was too perfect. I don't know whether people are just like barely listening or just not comprehending, or if people have both a listening and comprehension issue. This 22-year-old Utah Mormon was literally raised in a conservative household. Rumors and T just talked about pretty much the way that a lot of white Mormons raise their children in this like militant way that's adjacent to the GUN American culture. There are literally pictures that we've showed of Tyler Robinson with GUNs in his hands since he was like fucking 8 and 9 years old. His father, for God's sake, is a retired deputy. Okay, so he was literally raised and groomed and socialized in gun culture, with him having a father who is a retired deputy as well. You know that he would have aspired to be not only just great with guns, but like one of the greatest at shooting, because that was a part of his dad's legacy, who more than likely was passing down this tactical ability that he probably learned from his father. His father learned from his father. His father learned from his father. To his own words, his dad is a MAGA-loving freak. So these people are deep off into all traditional extremist white supremacist culture, which is always synonymous with GUN culture. So I don't know why people are finding it hard to believe that he popped this man so accurately when he's been popping rabbits and raccoons in the fucking neck since he's been 9. He's been popping deers and antelope in the ass since he was 9 years fucking old. You don't think that he could have popped the motherfucking nigga in a carotid artery 150 fucking yards away and had a high-powered scope on his rifle to do it with at that? Like, are people's critical thinking abilities so fried that we're just like running with emotionally driven narratives rather than literally make sense of the literal facts of the matter? There is nothing hard to believe. This was not a shot that was done half a mile away. This was not a shot that was even done like it was initially reported 700 miles away. The man had a high-powered, expensive-ass scope that was $2,000 on a rifle that has been generationally in his family. His dad used this rifle. His granddad used this rifle. He's been training with rifles and this rifle since he's been yay high. You don't think that these white Americans or white supremacists are not at gun ranges every other weekend, are not in their backyard? What do you think they're going hiking and camping to do? They're just not sitting around kumbaya and eating their wife's pussy out by the campfire. They're popping pigeons. They're running down fucking dinosaurs. I've been telling y'all, baby, white people are ready and been ready, girl. White people could be the poster child of ain't got to get ready because dumb hoes literally stay ready. A lot of the mass ooters have been linked to gun culture, being a part of gun culture, have had guns in their hands since they were children, since they were teenagers, since they were yay high. Y'all acting like Charlie Kirk was a moving target. He wasn't even a moving target. He was literally sitting perched. It was open season on his ass in broad daylight. This shot actually couldn't have been more fucking easier to execute. High-powered scope, a well-seasoned shooter who's the son of a fucking deputy who's been training with guns since he's been 10, in broad daylight, while Charlie Kirk is just sitting under a tent with nothing on but a t-shirt and a goddamn vest underneath, when Trump couldn't even supply his right-hand man with a goddamn helmet. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. Y'all brains are not that silly. Okay? Now, let's get into this whole groper culture. So after doing a few deep dives, because, baby, I really wanted to, it's a lot I don't understand about alt-right extremist culture and their imagery and their symbols. So this morning, I did my fair share of amateur deep dives into the whole groper culture with which this commentator just went over. And, this whole meme culture and this groper symbolism has been connected to so many school ootings and Anami extremism, as this article here is said. I'm going to link it in the description box for you guys to look at for yourselves when you get an opportunity. But this is what I understand. And this is what I think happened with Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson was born in a Mormon conservative, right-wing, MAGA-loving ass family with two parents who are registered Republicans who voted for Trump during both terms. And as we said earlier in this commentary, white people, unlike other groups in this matrix, do not deal so well with, or they do not stay so much loyal to identity politics more so than they are race loyal. White people sell themselves out and throw themselves in front of an 18-wheeler all the time politically just to stay loyal to whiteness. Just like all of these white trans who voted for a transphobic administration, all these white gays who voted for a homophobic administration, all of these white recipients of government assistance, SNAPs, housing, etc., who voted for this anti-minority, anti-poverty administration regardless, because that's how deeply loyal white people are to whiteness. All these white women, all these Karens, regardless of how sexist and patriarchal and misogynistic the administration is, voted against their own best interests anyway, because these folk are loyal to paleness first and foremost. Tyler is an interesting anomaly because he happens to be white and male, but LGBT. Okay? His partner allegedly is trans. Okay. I think because white people's culture is whiteness, a lot of white people vote white and align with white because that's just the way they've been trained and socialized. However, that also doesn't mean that everything within white culture and white ideology sits well with all white people who are quote unquote race loyal. Here it is. We have a 22-year-old Mormon who was deep off into 4chan, Reddit, deep state culture. And like this commentator said, within this culture is this sense of nihilism. It's this sense of kind of like anti-society, anti-establishment. When you have those type of fringe groups, what can develop indefinitely out of that type of culture are vigilantes. People who appoint themselves to do something very extreme about what they deem to be an extreme problem. Now, ironically, this man does have a motive. As I was speculating in my last live stream, I said, I wonder if something Charlie Kirk is preaching is close to home for Tyler Robinson. It would be the trans issue. It would be the LGBT issue. Here it is. He is madly in love with a trans person. And so the way that Charlie Kirk speaks, even though Charlie Kirk is a privileged, white, all right individual, has an ideology that absolutely endangers and others someone in his life that he loves, seemingly one of the only people that he loves. Now that I think about it, they say that the roommate hasn't been identified yet. So Lance Twiggs is cooperating with authorities. So is the alleged trans partner, but they're keeping the identity of the trans partner concealed. So these text messages, now that I'm thinking about it, aren't even from Lance Twiggs either. They're actually the text messages that the trans partner has presented. I'm assuming they're keeping the trans partner's identity concealed because of the way the extreme alt-right is wanting to wage a war against trans persons, LGBT persons, minority persons, black persons, woman persons, etc. I don't know why my brain just jumped back into that to break that all down to make it make sense to me, but that's how my brain works now. Because Lance Twiggs and these text messages have become like synonymous, but now it makes sense. Lance Twiggs is participating in an investigation, but we've yet to really get the deets from Lance Twiggs on what's taking place and what he knows. But the trans partner is also cooperating, but is being protected for the time being. And see, media needs to be doing all of this shit and making these distinctions because they got a bunch of shit looking like one thing all at the same time. Anyway, back to the Gropers community. So the Gropers community is a community of young, oftentimes white individuals who either have extreme right-leaning ideals and philosophies, racist, misogynist, transphobic, xenophobic, etc. But even within that can develop another subgroup of people who are just sick of the bullshit of dominant society, or sick of society as a whole, deeply alone. These are the people who may not per se share alt-right ideology, but may just be distressed in general, may just be feeling isolated in general, may just be feeling outcasted in general. And this Groper's community just creates a space where you can rage, where you can pop your shit, where you cannot give a fuck, where you can go AWOL, and you have that autonomy and you have the luxury of being able to be your shadow self without judgment. Y'all ever saw those like pits when it comes to like the heavy metal community, and you see those hordes of white kids all in the middle fighting and busting each other in the face and shit and swinging to heavy metal music? That's essentially what the fuck the Gropers, 4chan, Reddit, alt-right deep state community and culture really is. It's a place for rage. It's a place where all of the mosh pits, thank you. It's a place where angry ass people can galvanize and just be angry and be disturbed and trauma bond together as a bunch of fucking misfits, as a bunch of motherfucking rejects. So Tyler, despite having a conservative upbringing, raised by conservative, right-leaning, MAGA-supporting parents, Mormon upbringing, really, really religious upbringing, but he himself is LGBT. This goes against his Mormonism. This goes against the white supremacist culture, which is very heteronormative, heterosexual leaning. And so his privilege is being glitched and intersected by an aspect of his identity. Quote in the text, "I'm sick of Kirk's hatred." Hatred. More than likely, Tyler probably had to put up with some of this discrepancy over his sexuality with his parents, with his siblings. And so that becomes the breeding ground. The breeding ground, baby. Okay? For his own motives and for his own othering experience. And now, as a 22-year-old, he has Charlie Kirk, a part of his society, rage baiting, encouraging people to be right-leaning, to be homophobic, to be transphobic. This administration is overturning all resources for minority folk, etc. And this is an issue that is personally close to home. And this motherfucker enters into a state of goddamn psychosis and decides he's going to absolutely do something about what he deems as a big ass motherfucking problem in society and as a big ass fucking problem for the direction of his life, because he's trying to move forward in his own life as an LGBT person with his trans partner and can't do that because of motherfuckers like Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk, as a motherfucker, got to motherfucking go. I find it fascinating at just how nuanced this situation is with Tyler, because he's like perfectly in the middle. Nobody really knows what his ideology is because he's a registered voter, but did not vote in the last 2 elections. He didn't vote blue or red. And I believe that he's been perfectly undecided and in this middle because of this particular intersection of his sexuality, which never allowed him to completely lean into the Mormon right-leaning aspect of his upbringing, because that aspect of his upbringing is deeply homophobic. And that is where he begins to fucking break off from the matrix and deep dive into an even deeper goddamn matrix and take up his motherfucking issue with this transphobic, homophobic ass aspect of white supremacists, which he can't deal with as a white man because he is LGBT himself. So now there is a conflict of interest. He can't fully support whiteness. He can't fully support Mormonism. He can't fully support white supremacy, which I believe Tyler Robinson probably would have if white supremacy was profoundly inclusive of queer people. He probably would be sitting in a perfect nest. He probably would be the equivalent of a Charlie Kirk himself. But because white supremacists and white culture is homophobic, this is the thing that separates him from the rest of his Klansmen, girl. And that ain't turned out too well for his Klansmen, because man down amongst the Klansmen. As that white commentator said about the inner culture of extreme alt-right ideology, which is this 4chan, Reddit-ass, deep state community and culture, it breeds a space for people who have been deeply, deeply, deeply injured by the culture, by society, by their fucking communities. And as I've been saying, which he said it again, until the root fucking cause is addressed, baby, we are going to have some big ass motherfucking problems in America, because Reddit and 4chan are not even the issue. The issue is literally what the fuck I've been telling y'all, and now everybody is slowly waking up to this reality, which is that America literally cannot fucking afford classism. It cannot afford homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, niggerphobia. It can't afford any of it. The entire fucking system is collapsing because America believes it has a constitutional right to debate over people's actual fucking humanity. And as long as trans people are dying as a result of this constitutional privilege, as long as Black people and queer people are dying as a result of this constitutional privilege, as long as immigrant folk, disabled folk, all these other folk who are not included in the status quo are paying the price for a privilege America doesn't want to give up, which is stop fucking debating people's humanity, people are going to get popped. Society is going to fucking collapse. There's going to be neighbor on neighbor violence. There's going to be implosions within communities. There's going to be divisiveness and implosion everywhere we see, because America gives everybody the right to literally, politically, and legally vote other people's oppression into reality. I keep telling y'all, the issue with American culture is that you know, everybody wants to say, oh, this was his First Amendment, his First Amendment, his First Amendment, his First Amendment, or Second Amendment, or whatever the fucking amendment it is that gives you the right to talk your shit. The problem with talking out shit is that our society is not mature enough to deal with the freedom of speech, because oftentimes, especially for minority folk, freedom of speech leads to freedom of violence against other folk. There is a homicidal pathology that is the reality of our freedom of speech, because freedom of speech is leading and has historically continued to lead and make way and provide pathway for freedom of violence of all kinds against the people, your speech, others. Whether that's queer people, hate speech and hate crimes. Whether that's Black folk, Latino folk, hate crime. Whether that's woman folk, femicide, sexist, hate crimes. There is a deep connection between what the fuck we have a right to say and the way that shit influences and indoctrinates and moves another unhinged motherfucker who feels the same way to go out and do something murky and homicidal and deeply disturbing to another person because they show up and live differently than someone else. Until America gives that shit up, baby, you're going to have a problem. And I'm going to tell you how big the problem is. The problem is this gargantuous. Take a look at this screen. Right-wing extremist-related killings in the U.S. by perpetrator affiliation from 2013 to 2022. And it's gone up since then. Nearly 3 out of 4 unalivings are committed by right-wing extremists in the United States. They are committed by white fucking supremacists. 73% of right-wing extremists are motherfucking white supremacists alone. Who has it out for every fucking body? These are the people who are redistricting all around the fucking country in order to control and keep our asses out of these midterm elections. These are the motherfuckers who are stealing elections. These are the motherfuckers who are suppressing your right to motherfucking vote. These are the motherfuckers who are overturning DEI, who are whitewashing motherfucking history. These are the motherfucking people. America, we got a problem, bitch. Ben had a problem, gonna have a motherfucking problem. And unfortunately, we have an administration that is deeply fucking delusional, who is rage baiting, who is trolling, and who's breaking down the interior of America from the inside the fuck out. This thing is going to get much worse before it gets better. And I too oppose political violence of all kind. But like I've been saying, and I'm going to continue to fucking say it, I don't give a fuck who likes it, is all these things need to be considered political violence. Voting people's health care away, voting people's housing away, voting the food out of people's mouth away, inflation, tariffs, the unemployment, all of that shit is political fucking violence. And it has no choice but to default logically to a dynamics of the haves and the have-nots. And that's not going to do anybody any fucking favors. And the fact that MAGA is falling apart, a big chunk of them are realizing that they fucked up real bad because they thought they were going to be able to afford bread in Bologna. They thought that mortgage and rent were going to be affordable. They believed in the lies of a perpetual and habitual liar. And now that the atrocity is unfolding, some of them, chunks of them, are waking up like, what in the fuck did I do? Because I did not intend for this. Or even the weird ass racist weirdos who voted the head of the Ku Klux Klansmen into office didn't really realize that classism is a part of white supremacy as well, baby. And so taking away DEI affects white women who are now waking up as a result, like, I've been betrayed by Trump. Oh, because now your whiteness isn't even enough either, because what makes Donald Trump different than all other white supremacists sitting in high places is that Donald Trump isn't even a racist. Donald Trump is an elitist. He's cosplaying as a racist, and an actual racist brought into the bullshit. Donald Trump isn't even a goddamn racist. He's an elitist, and that's why he's eating up white people too in all that he's doing. And now all those actual racist white people are like, wait a minute, girl. You can't take away my Medicaid and Medicare. You can't inflate the country. You can't inflate the fucking goods. That was only for those poor black folk. That was only for those poor immigrant folk. You're doing shit that affects our white asses. Yeah, you dumbass. Because you voted for a fucking elitist who is beating you and outsmarting you in your own fucking game. Because he was smart enough, girl, to play into appearing like a racist when he really is a classist and a goddamn elitist. And he's in this shit for the elite of the elite. Which means that your middle class white ass is out of here. Your lower class white ass is out of here. Your womanly white ass is out of here. Your LGBT white ass is out of here. Girl, Donald Trump and his administration and the shadow administration behind him, girl, are playing for the biggest dogs on the chessboard. And these people have even transcended race. They have compartmentalized society as a whole, and they're willing to eat their own too, which is what they're fucking doing. Racist white people are just going to be kind of like privileged to be the last to go because they sit the closest to the lie that Donald Trump is selling as a cosplaying racist. So they're going to have the luxury of watching a lot of shit happen to everybody else. But they're also going to be seeing that slow eclipse and like, wait a minute, girl, the fire is getting too, wait a minute, bitch, the fire is getting too close to home. Wait, the fire is, hold on, girl. I'm not trying to, wait, the fire wasn't supposed to, the fire, girl, it's getting too hot, girl. My makeup is melting. Yeah, see, they're already seeing that the fire is getting close to home. But because they're also sitting the furthest away from the fire, they're still trying to give Trump and his regime the benefit of a doubt. Baby, you're going into the furnace with everybody fucking else, girl. Titanic is shipping. It's sinking, bitch. It's sinking, girl. And your racism and your white skin privilege is not going to save you, unfortunately. Only your economics will. Only your economics will. So there will be black folk who will benefit from what Trump is doing. There will be white folk that will. But those folk will be a part of a minority. Because they're a part of an elite class. If you're a part of the general population, bitch, regardless of whether you blue, white, or green, girl, you're cooked. That broccoli has been done. You're cooked. Unless we all band together, girl, and rip it from under these hoes before they get to rip it from us. We're gonna have to pull fully out of this fucking system and collapse it economically. Because if there's any color, like I said, girl, economics, the only color America understands is the color green, bitch. And before they fully use us to get to where it is they're trying to get on the monopoly board, because see, they're trying to get to a certain threshold. They're using us to get to a certain threshold. Once they get to that threshold, then they're going to be able to fully let us go to the depths of hell. We have to rip it from them before they get an opportunity to do that, because that's the only way to stop them, is to not give them the opportunity to cross that threshold. Because once they do, girl, it's up. Game is fucking over. We got to collapse it before they do. We have to rip it out of their fucking hands. All this shit with Target, etc., girl. It's time to crash the whole entire motherfucking market. Crash the entirety of it, girl, and don't fucking resurrect it after 3 days and 3 nights. This is the only part of what's happening that I appreciate, is that Trump is single-handedly going to wake white people up. Finally. They are going to get an opportunity to look like us. And all that's happening, girl. And the crying games ain't started just yet. Another reason why there are more killings connected to the right-wing extremists is because some types of right-wing extremists often commit non-ideological violence as well as ideological violence. For the narrow purposes of this report, COE defines ideological murders as killings directed against perceived enemies as well as other people, such as police or bystanders. This is kind of where Tyler Robinson would fit in to play at, who may get in the way or try to stop such attacks. The center of extremism defines non-ideological murders as murders for which the motive is unclear. Murders committed to benefit an extremist group or members thereof, such as unaliving internal or external rivals or suspected informants. Oh, well, shit. Tyler could fit within this as well. And murderers committed for traditional motives such as greed, anger, or jealousy. These can include domestic violence murders, as well as murderers related to criminal enterprises such as drug dealing, in which may pale supremacy gangs engage. The right has a problem, and it doesn't want to address that, even in the wake of a 22-year-old Mormon conservative son of 2 Republican MAGA-loving parents does not want to address the way that extremism is mostly a right issue, and that in this conversation around banning trans people from having guns, which the NPR or whatever the fuck you call them folk, they've already spoken out and said, girl, no such thing is going to happen. So we can already dismiss that conversation. However, that same conversation, if there's going to be a conversation around who guns need to be banned for or banned from or prohibited from, needs to be around banning white men in particular, who make up our largest demographic of serial killers and mass fucking ooters. Nearly 3 out of 4 killings. This is literally a fucking epidemic. This is a Western epidemic, a societal epidemic, a motherfucking social epidemic. 73. What are we gonna do about that? What the right gonna do about they right ass problem? What is the right gonna do about the sickness? They're gonna do nothing. They're going to deflect. They're going to muddy the waters. They're gonna find a way to blame the left, to blame liberals, to blame blacks, to blame the queer people. They're going to find a way to fucking do just that. But now one of their own has committed an op-up against another one of their own. So now this culture of white supremacists now have to deal with the reality, girl, that all they skin folk ain't kin folk. Tyler Robinson is their version of all skin folk ain't kin folk. White supremacists and white supremacy is even collapsing because there is a deeper disgruntled group of Americans and Westerners that are growing even more fucking unhinged than white supremacy. Okay? And they are nested and embedded within white culture, within conservative culture, within Republican culture, within MAGA culture, but they're not fully MAGA. They're not fully conservative. They have intersections that make them minority, such as their gender and their orientation or their class. Now, there's a lot of folk getting fired right now. A lot of folk who working for corporations and institutions are losing their jobs because they quoted Charlie Kirk or they spoke in some way against Charlie Kirk. I want to say this. Minority folk, even all of our white freedom fighters, baby, hold your mule right now. What's happening is kind of taking care of itself. We don't even so much as have to personally put ourselves on the line. We have political figures that should be doing that. We have higher ups that should be tearing up the algorithms right now and putting forth all this information like this, putting forth all these facts against the right and constantly revealing their hand and their true face. But the issue is kind of taking care of itself because the fire in the call is now coming from in the house and it's going to continue to come from inside of the house. This Groper's Reddit 4chan community is not even so much as MAGA, as they are a brewing culture of potential vigilantes who are ready to avenge the parts of their own identity that makes them a minority amongst the status quo. And you know what's interesting about that is I always said we were going to need the help of the people who sit the closest to the table, the people who sit the closest to massa, the people whose bedrooms are on the same floor as massa. So now racist white alt-right culture has an issue of all their skin folk not being kin folk. And that, in an interesting, unique way, is going to be a part of the success of the revolution to come. Oh, yes, it is, baby. See, I can see how the universe is working in a very mysterious, but it ain't really so mysterious to those who got eyes, bitch. If you got eyes to see, bitch, it ain't really that much mystery really going on. But I can see the way that this interesting weed is untangling itself. I want to also show something that Rumors and Tea had sent me. I haven't seen this yet, but we're going to see it together. Check this out.
Really heard anyone say this, but the callous memes and jokes about Charlie Kirk's murder are a direct byproduct of the didn't do nothing era. And if you don't know what didn't do nothing means, then you need to watch this video. And if you do, you should stay because a lot of this will resonate with you. So let's rewind to the early 2010s. Imagine you come home, you turn the news, and you hear about Trayvon Martin, who was a 17-year-old that was shot and killed by a vigilante while holding a bag of Skittles. Or you see the footage of 12-year-old Tamir Rice, who was shot and killed by police while holding a toy gun. Or Eric Garner being choked to death while saying that he couldn't breathe. Or Sandra Bland, who was wrongfully arrested and later found dead in jail. For many of you who were adults at the time, the tragedy and horror, as terrible as it was, pretty much ended there with the killings themselves and reconciling the injustice that happened. But the rest of us, Gen Z and millennials, who were mostly children at the time, the killings were just where the trauma began. Because that's when the internet exploded with the most shocking and vile memes and jokes about these people who had just died. And the didn't do nothing meme was practically the face of this era. It was a ignorant and purposely fake African-American English way of saying he didn't do anything, as a way for online trolls and racists to mock grieving Black families who claim that their loved ones were unarmed and undeserving of death. But make no mistake, it was not just this one meme. There was actually a whole ecosystem of cruel and edgy content that was meant to desensitize people and normalize making fun of Black people dying. For example, this was a trend called Trayvoning, where white teenagers would dress up in a hoodie and lie face down with Skittles and a can of soda to mock the way in which Trayvon Martin's dead body was found. And more recently, we had the George Floyd challenge, which is pretty self-explanatory. This sort of online cruelty was foundational for the alt-right pipeline. No regard for the families of the victims of police violence and little regard for the facts. And this dehumanizing content was born in the dark corners of websites like Reddit and 4chan. But what started out as edgy jokes in those places spilled over into YouTube comments, Facebook threads, and eventually mainstream conservative discourse. And while Charlie Kirk may not have been at the beginning of this phenomenon, nor was he necessarily the furthest right, he absolutely benefited from its culture and actively participated in its expansion. He spread content that told lies and was meant to smear figures like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd soon after, if not immediately after they were killed. And just to add on to that, a lot of people are focusing on only the direct quotes from Charlie Kirk himself, but that leaves out the organization that he founded and just how badly it contributed to this issue. Now, back then until now, many activists have said the solution is to teach people about why it's wrong to dehumanize others and implement stronger and smarter content moderation against hate speech. Instead, right-wing voices and Silicon Valley executives called that woke and just tore down all the rules. Of course, this made things worse and fueled even worse radicalization. For example, I recently wrote about the George Droid meme and how crazy and depraved this culture of mocking death had become in the wake of recent changes on platforms that allow unfiltered hate speech. But all of that fell on deaf ears, of course, until now. But I want to make something very clear. It is definitive that this morbid internet culture originates on the right. More specifically, the meme lords of 4chan and Reddit, the politicians and public figures that normalized and emboldened them, and the social media companies that make money by fanning the flames of all of this. And that has radicalized and desensitized both sides of the political spectrum. And we tried to warn you before it backfired. But that's all I can fit in this video. If you want my full essay on the topic, go to my Substack at historycan'thide.com. Or if you're on Instagram, just comment the word newsletter below to be DM'd a link. But what do you think about all of this? And did any of you guys also live through the didn't do nothing era? Let me know in the comments and follow for more. So I haven't really heard anyone say.
All right. Let's get into Candace, or as I like to call her, Candace Owens. Girl, a little bit. Then I'm going to drop the link and let you guys pop out. Let's get into some fair use here. I want to let you guys hear a little bit of this girl because she is questioning the authenticity or the agenda here, even though she is right-wing herself, but she is feeling like something that's not right, girl, in the buttermilk when it comes to these text messages and the way that they're being disseminated. Okay, this is Candace Owens, child.
I don't want to chance it. Robinson says, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hopefully they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. What? You're worried about explaining losing the rifle to your father, not worried that you left the rifle and therefore it's obviously going to be found out. Like the only thing that you left was the murder weapon. This is weird. This chain is weird to me. It's weird to me that we don't know what time. I don't know what he means. Where is he stuck here, guys? Do you have a clue here? I'm stuck in a REM for a little while longer. It shouldn't be long until I can come home. Is it a typo? I should have asked you guys. Okay, that's the town. Okay, that's the town. I'm stuck here for a little while longer. It shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. So is this happening during lockdown? He tells him to check under and to see. Oh, check under quickly and see. And I took care of it. And he's where? And now he's giving him an accounting of exactly what's taken place, which means if this is right after and they're still in lockdown, he's monitoring the situation? Because this is going to give us a timeline, whether they tell us when these messages happened or not. The fact that he already knows that they grabbed some crazy old dude and that they also interrogated someone in similar clothing, we're going to be able to go back and plot exactly when that happened, or at least when the public was informed. Because this whole correspondence is very strange to me.
It's not strange. And, I want somebody to hit the link who believes that the text exchange between Tyler Robinson and his roommate is strange, to hit the link, because I want somebody to make it make sense to me why it's strange, because I haven't found anything strange yet. It's not uncommon for a perpetrator to make a confession to someone they love. That's not uncommon. Tyler Robinson is obviously having an entire panic attack because he just did something extreme, and there's been an extreme police response to what he's done, but he's left evidence on campus or close to campus, and he's trying to soothe himself by speaking to his roommate because his anxiety is through the roof, because he needs to get this rifle that's been left behind. I mean, I don't understand what is so bizarre. I don't understand what is so unusual. I literally don't get it. I don't get what is the big fucking to do, because there's nothing unusual happening here.
It's very strange to me. He then is even more explicit, talk about trying to cover your tracks, but then explicitly texting everything to your lover.
Yeah, he's not trying to actually cover his tracks to his fucking lover. This is the person he's actually uncovering his tracks for. Hello? He's not at all trying to uncover. He's being very transparent, very forward. He's the one contacting the roommate making this confession. So,
he says, the only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a meme. If I see notices bulge on Fox.
And I see everybody in the back chat. I'm going to let you all up. I just want to let a little bit of this play. I'm going to bring you all up. So stay in the back chat because I'm going to bring you all up in a second.
News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Okay, so if this is our guy, oh, we're not done. Let's finish. That really sucks. He's got to leave it. And then he says, judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I think that was a $2,000 scope. And then he does a winky face. And then he tells him, delete this exchange. And then Robinson says, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says, Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. So his dad's calling him. Okay, well, the dad, this is interesting. When is this text chain taking place? Okay, because we just heard that, the dad, they figured it out the next day. They're making it sound like this all happened back to back. Is this happening over 2 days? Why?
Obviously, it's not. Obviously, it's happening in real fucking time. He's literally in his car looking at the news, looking at every fucking update, as he should be, since he is at this point trying to get away with what he's done, because he needs to know if there is an opportunity for him to retrieve the most incriminating thing in this whole thing, outside of the surveillance footage, which is the actual weapon in question. He's literally in the text messages saying where he is. He's parked looking at updates because he's thinking about going back to... I don't understand. What is the fucking confusion? I'm confused about why people are confused about shit that's in plain sight. Like, people like Candace are starting to make me feel like I'm in the fucking upside down. And I'm in the right side up world.
Why not tell us?
She's making me fucking crazy like her. Because I'm like, you're asking questions that are being established by Tyler himself in the text messages.
Us this instantly so I can work.
This is what happens when you try too hard to be a conspiracy theorist. Like, this is what happens when you try too hard to find loopholes, and then you really make an ass out of yourself, but nobody really knows it because all the other people who think you make sense are also asses. And so they're like, oh yeah, girl. And then a bitch with a right side up brain is like, baby, point A and point B are sitting right here, literally in what you're reading and referring to. Are you okay? Are you sleepwalking? Is there something medically wrong? But this is what happens when you try too hard to see and then you end up blind. Don't ever in your life try this hard to see, because you're going to end up blind as a result of trying this hard.
Work it into my timeline. Okay, are these messages day one? And then what? They had no correspondence at all until he jumps right back in and says, my dad's calling me. Where were you when your dad called you? You guys live together. Why are you texting at all? Why?
I literally have lost all respect for this dumbass bitch. I'm going to go crazy listening to Candace Owens. Why y'all texting? Because he's still on the scene. He's already successfully made it off campus, made it across the neighborhood, back into his car. This is obviously the day of. This is literally all happening in real fucking time. Why is she not okay? Let me bring up the crew. Let me bring up the goddamn crew. Todd, sound off.
Well, remember what I've always said. You're talking about somebody who's trying to absolve themselves of things that they have implicated themselves into, right? When it comes to Candace Owens. And also, she's appealing to the masses who don't have the two things I have constantly talked about on this forum a lot of times, which is inductive and deductive reasoning, right? Never mind the fact that the dates and the times are right there. And anybody...
Hold on for 1 minute. Hold on for 1 minute. Todd, because I think that Trevor hit the link. Oh no, this is somebody else. It doesn't sound strange. I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't sound strange. Tourists who says it does sound strange, like word for word what they said on the news and almost to description, like a real person would be texting all that. A real person. So you're saying that somebody who committed homicide is even being a natural person right now? Y'all literally are talking about a murderer who killed somebody in cold blood, but are reducing him in the same breath to a normal person who should be acting in a normal way when he's already done a abnormal thing. Like, the logic does not even make any fucking sense. He just killed a man in cold blood in front of the entire fucking world and is now a criminal and has done something extreme. And y'all are also trying to default that extreme person to operating in a normal capacity. like you literally have to make, like, I don't think some of y'all think it all the way through. Like, you gotta really think about what you're thinking about. And it gotta really make sense. At this point, Tyler Robinson is not a normal person. He is a person who just created and just executed an extreme offense against another human being and is now in a heightened state of paranoia and has left incriminating evidence behind and is talking to one of the only people in his life that he fucking loves and gives a fuck about. And at this point, this roommate is equivalent to a Catholic priest in a confessional booth. And if there's anybody that he wants to know the fucking truth, it is a member of his intimate community, which at this point is his roommate. You cannot, as a normal person, look at an abnormal person and then project normalcy onto them like, well, why are they not acting like, because they're not normal. He obviously had a breach in psychosis when he decided to actually do this. You wouldn't consider what he did to be normal, right? You wouldn't consider cold blood to be normal, right? Outside of self-defense. So we're not talking about somebody who's in their right state of mind. We're not talking about somebody who, and by the way, there is no universal behavior to any one criminal. You're talking about the same group of people, aka mass shooters, who leave behind entire manifestos that give a play-by-play. You talking about people who kill themselves, who leave behind suicide notes. People give play-by-plays. And sometimes they live to tell about it, and sometimes they don't live to tell about it. Leaving behind a play-by-play and a confession is not uncommon. It happens all the fucking time in the world of criminality and suicide. Y'all are just not bringing all of that into y'all's equation for whatever reason. And I don't know whether it's because you just want to be that disgruntled with the media and these text messages, but this is really not some unusual fucking to do. Almost every fucking mass shooter we've had gave a play-by-play. So to now act like people don't give play-by-plays, it's not, like, that's not going to work. The Colorado shooter had a manifesto. The trans shooter who shot up that Catholic school had a manifesto. Thomas Matthew Crooks, who popped Donald Trump last year in the ear, had a manifesto. A play-by-play, a play-by-play, a play-by-play, a play-by-play. It is not unusual for there to be a play-by-play and a confession. He's in a heightened state of awareness. He's afraid. He has anxiety. And he is talking to this roommate out of comfortability. And he knows his fate is doomed. He literally is speaking almost in the past tense when he said, I hope that this would have stayed with me till I died. I can't contain us. I tell somebody, I love you. You're the only person I'm concerned about. And he's emptying himself out. That's not unusual, considering what he just did. And now all the possibilities, which is that I could be killed in a line of fire. These motherfuckers could come find me and blow my fucking head off. I could fucking die. I don't know if I'm going to be successfully or, apprehended. Now he's facing all of the worst possibilities and hypotheticals in his brain. Of course, he's going to talk to somebody that he loves. And he's not the only person to have done so. He's not the only person that told another motherfucker what he was about to do or told a motherfuckers in the aftermath about what was done. Plenty of people, girl, look through American history. Plenty of people went to their best friend and said, bitch, I just killed my wife and the kids. So plenty of people in history done went to their best friend or to their mama and said, bitch, I'm going to kill the kids and my wife. This has happened all up and through. This is not unusual, uncommon. Do y'all not watch First 48? Have y'all not been keeping up with the nuances of these mass shootings and these manifestos? There are people who confess on the spot to police. Yep, I did it. I just played the fucking clip of the black woman a few live streams ago who told investigators right out of the gate, yes, I chopped his white ass up. The trash needed to be taken out. I tortured him, and I wish I would have killed the other motherfucker, but I had somewhere to go. And said I'd do it again. I mean, this happens. This is not unusual. My whole point is that this is not unusual. It's not uncommon. There's nothing unusual about what he's doing. It's just what he's doing. And it doesn't have to look like what everybody else does because there's nothing universal about the way people really carry these things out. Sometimes there's some universal aspects. Doesn't always have to be. We're not a monolith. Psychopaths are not a monolith. Murderers are not a monolith. So there's not like one way for something to happen. It all makes actual sense. But go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry.
You know, and this is what I'm talking about, conscious, right? The absence of inductive and deductive reasoning, and you're absolutely correct. All of these people write manifestos, right? Because these are like confessionals to them. Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma bomber, he wrote a manifesto. James, I can't remember his James Collison, the Colorado shootings in the movie theater, where he just walked into the movie theater and started gunning people down. You are absolutely correct, but you're talking about people who are devoid of, who are voided of inductive and deductive reasoning. Right? So yes, but to those who actually research these things, right, who wants to get answers for these things, we understand the process. And this is why I always tell people, I recommend people to watch your channel, because you're going to break it down to the very last compound. I don't get it. And when you was quoting some things that made sense about the political ideological perspective of political violence, these things are also true of the right. Because in 2024, there's an article in USA Today in 2024, right, that talks about how, right, it says more than 1 in 4 Republicans and nearly 1 in 3 Republicans with a favorable view of former President Donald Trump say political violence is acceptable, right? And a study from the Public Religion Research Institute, a nonprofit research organization, found that while only 1 in 6 Americans support political violence, the numbers are much higher amongst Republicans than Democrats. So we're not out here just talking just to be talking, right? You know, we're giving viable information, but nobody's listening though, right? But it's us who are the problem though, right? This is amazing. It's absolutely incredible.
What do you think about this whole like 4chan deep state? What do you think about like Tyler Robinson being like perfectly in the middle? Like he is them, but he also just kind of distinguished himself from MAGA and from whiteness because of this. What I believe this LGBT intersection was the line of demarcation for him. It was like the thing that made him not fully identify with whiteness entirely.
Imagine being told all your life that the dollar bill is blue, and then you finding out that it's green. So now you are faced with your own moral compasses. And when people are challenged, and their moral compasses and their moral beliefs are on the line, they either tend to fight or flight. What he tried to do was change the reality around him to fit what he just learned, and in the guise of thinking he can protect his partner from future things, because he viewed Charlie Kirk as the enemy, right? He viewed him as the enemy, and that Charlie Kirk actually had the power to make the reality of which he lives in detrimental, that he just now learned. So yes, you're exactly right. That's what it is in a nutshell.
Any other thoughts before we move on to Sue, Todd?
No, that's it. Nah, you're spot on. Look, no lies detected.
This is
right?
Yes. All right, Sue.
Thank you for letting me cook.
Yes, no problem, Todd. Hey, Sue. Can you hear me, Sue? Sue might have walked away from the. Oh, there you go. Hey, Sue.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh yeah, you know, I learn a few things I can't say on here because the mods of Google don't like it apparently. So same crap, different day. That's not the word we use, but anyway.
Yes.
Got to be very careful.
Yes.
Just all the stuff that's coming through over this here in Australia is insane.
Yeah.
You know, like he tells people where he's left the
Mm-hmm.
weapon.
Well, it's not just people. He's telling someone that he's intimately tied to. He's telling his companion.
But
Which makes sense to me, right? Like if you're gonna tell anybody, you would confess to the love of your life, the person you love the most. Obviously, is where all your secrets are going to go to.
What? But why would you tell anybody if you actually wanted to get away with the perfect crime?
Because
why would you tell anyone?
Because as he said in the text messages, at this point, he knows that there's a 50-50 chance he's probably going to get caught. So now he needs to confess because he left the rifle. His dad is calling him because he's assuming, oh, like this is a unique gun. It's not just like a regular commercial rifle. This is a unique rifle that was handed down, you know, to my father by his father. That's been handed down to me. And my father is now text messaging me and calling me because he wants pictures of this rifle, etc. And I left this gun and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to retrieve it. So more than likely, I'm not going to get away with this. So he's in that middle phase where he's like, I might not get away with this because I don't even know if I can go back to that place to retrieve that gun out of the woods. And he's talking to the person that he's the closest to, the person that he trusts the most, because he obviously needs to be comforted. And I think he wants, in case anything happens to him, because he don't even know if he's gonna make it home successfully. If anything happens to him, he wants his partner to know, yes, it's me. I did this, and this is why. And I mean, is that really unusual? I
don't know. If I was, not that I'm that sort of person, but if I was planning on that kind of thing, I would think I would be telling absolutely no one. And I wouldn't be using some unique weapon to do it. Like the whole thing
but that's what I'm trying to also get other people to understand, right? Is that somebody who does something like this isn't well, obviously, completely.
Yeah, obviously.
Right? Yeah. You know, so to bring yourself to do something like this in a non-self-defense circumstance, you have to be not well. And because he's not well, this isn't going to look well done across the board, you know?
Well, no, it wasn't well done at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all. It was just, I can't say it. I nearly said it again. It was the biggest crap show ever. Like, the stuff that's coming through and the stuff that's coming out of the orange one's mouth, who, by the way, is currently in Great Britain at a state banquet having the time of his life because people are fawning all over him, but I thought he cared for Charlie so much. Why is he over there enjoying himself? Like, you should see it.
He got immediately asked about how he's doing. He said, okay, and then immediately went to talking about his ballroom. Like, Donald Trump doesn't give up about Charlie Kirk, and I'm just glad that it looks just like that. He can't even spend more than 2 seconds talking about the man, even though they're going to prompt Trump up to speak at Charlie's alleged memorial service. He has forged straight ahead. Trump doesn't care. They're only using Charlie because they think it's an opportunity to go against the left. That's the only reason why they're putting this much energy into Charlie Kirk and the victimhood of it all and the martyr of it all is because it's just a way to bring the MAGA base back together again. And it's just a way to keep Republicans inspired and to so-called convert left-leaning people into being right-leaning people because they get to use the situation to smear left ideology, left belief systems, left-leaning individuals. So this is literally not even about Charlie for the right. They're only using his ass as a prop and as a utility for their movement. So
but
that's all.
They might be fooling people in America, those that want to be fooled, we'll say, but he sure as hell isn't fooling the rest of the world. Because if little old me here in little Australia can see, well, like, you don't really give a crap, really. You like everything that comes out of your mouth, you contradict yourself.
Yep.
So why are you trying to use this person that was, you know, shot? I'm trying to think of the right words. I'm trying to be very careful.
Yeah. He was alive.
Like, why are you spouting out all this crap that comes across our news channels? And that's the only way we see it, unless we actively go looking for anything the Orange One has said. And not many people here really care enough about him, I've got to be honest, to want to go looking for anything that he's saying. How can people over there be so fooled by him? It just blows my mind.
Well, here's the thing, right? He is losing a big chunk of his base. He's not popular. It was just data that just came out yesterday that Trump is the most unpopular president yet. But the issue now is that he's already here. So even the people that are having awakening, you know, even the people who are now waking up and realizing, oh, he lied, he defrauded us, he is not for the people, is like they're waking up, but there's nothing we can really do about it. Like, we can't reverse the vote. So he's in here now, regardless of people changing their minds, regardless of, you know, people waking up now, but he's here. So
yeah, for another 3 years.
Yeah. So he's not even going to be here going forward because of people believing him. He's going to be here because he's been voted into office to be here for the next 3.5 years. So yeah, we're in an unfortunate situation.
Unless something happens to him, because I don't believe his health is the best right now.
And it doesn't stop there, right? Because he has a vice president that's being groomed to pick up the torch. Like, that's the whole point of the vice president, because both Trump and Vance are a part of a machine as well. So literally, if you put anybody right-leaning in either one of their positions, the movement that's been created, they intend to continue to be perpetuated. So you would have to really get rid of the machine itself, because even Trump and JD Vance are puppets to that machine, to that larger machine. Trump is just a mascot in the face for the movement, but he's not the curator and the author of it. He's just the face of the movement.
Vance is another kettle of fish altogether. He's like, even without him in power, you can see he's like a little bit unhinged with what he says and what he does. You sure as hell don't want him. Oh, I said the H word, sorry. You sure don't want him in power instead of the Orange One. Yeah. Like, that man has got serious issues, like serious issues. I don't know what the answer is for you guys over there.
The answer right now, Sue, is this coming midterms next year, which they're already trying to stop and trying to counteract. But midterms is very important because it's going to be an opportunity for Democrats to take up more seats in this administration, to offer more and balance. So that's what we're gearing up for now.
You jumped out.
There's midterms, but they're going to offer some cushioning if we can actually pull that off.
Right. See, your whole election process works a lot differently over there. You have what you call midterms and all the whole lead up to the election, where here we don't have that. We don't have. Sorry, I just got to open the blind for the dog.
Are you good?
She wants to go out. She wants to go.
You want some of that good Australian sunshine.
Yeah, she out there doing her thing. She just had breakfast. Yeah, we don't have midterms. We have like the election that we had last year, and then they're in office for 4 years, the same. But we don't do midterms and things like that. They kind of soft campaign the whole way through the 4 years. And then about 3 months before the election date that's been set comes, then they really go at it like hammer and tong, full on, like why you should vote for us. So we work a bit different that way. But it's just scary what's going on.
Yeah, it's a mess,
Like,
child. It's a mess.
yeah, it is a mess. I agree with you. I sit here and I watch the news, and then something like might come on, and I'm like, that's a bit weird, and I'll go looking for more information.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I just shake my head. I'm like, what the hell is going on in this country? Like, why is it happening? It's like America, honestly, is such a great country. It really is. If we could just get rid of all these, thinking of my words carefully, all these questionable people, if we could just stop them getting into power, that's undermining everything that is great about your country.
Yeah.
You know that they're not helping anybody, absolutely nobody. And I don't care what race you are. I don't care what religion, nothing. They're helping nobody but themselves.
Yeah.
They're just out for themselves and what they can get. They don't seem to be helping the American people, so to speak. And like Charlie, even like what he did, I totally don't agree with what he did. But if you look through it all, you can kind of see the frustration that would have been building in his brain if he was mentally unwell over all the stuff that's happening. You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he thought that was the only way. I don't know.
Are you speaking about Charlie or you
Charlie?
What? Robinson, the shooter. Are you talking about?
Oh, sorry, the shooter. Yeah, no, sorry, not Charlie Kirk, the shooter. Like, well, I can understand if mentally unwell, unstable, whatever he was, the frustration that can build, because in a sane, normal person's brain, the frustration would build. And it is building over what's going on in your country. But to go out and do something like that, it's like it just can't be allowed. Because can you see what's going to happen if that's just tolerated?
Yeah, it's going to be retaliatory, and there's going to be bloodshed on both ends, and it's just going to continue to deepen the wound. But we have it like we have a big part of American culture and a big part of American politics that do not want to address the issue of violence in this country by right-leaning groups and individuals from the perspective of extreme social and political dis-ease is going to warrant an extreme response. So, you know, we have to literally take care of our people. We have to have a government that literally cares about the quality of life for its citizens. And but instead, they're commercializing that, sensationalizing that, and they are building and expounding upon that rather than dismantling that. And it's feeding this growing beast and this escalation of violence, which is going to be escalated politically as well. But, you know, to your point, I find it hard to also, the way that I find it hard to judge Mr. Robinson because I'm just like, extreme issues do cause for extreme responses. Like if you put human beings in extreme, if you put people in survival mode, or if you build and rev up fear, if you rev up all those kind of like low vibrational things, then you also can't be, you can still persecute the person that acts in a way that's quote unquote irrational to that, but you can't also like But you can't act like that's not to be expected if you continue to deprive people of liberty and of their freedom and of their means to live a decent life. Yes, you're going to get an uptake in crime. You're going to get an uptake in hate. You're going to get an uptake in all type of things. So, you know, America got a lot of fucking issues. I don't know whether America is going to cross the hump. I don't know if we're going to exercise this 400-year-long demon that's been in American soil. I don't know if America is going to purify itself, but all we can do is fight the good fight and have the conversations the right way. But it's so disheartening because we have the mascot of the country who is playing into the vision instead of uplifting American people and speaking against political violence and being a president to all people, not just to elite people, not just to wealthy people, but to Black people, to trans people, to gay people, to immigrant people, you know, who wants to be a president for all people, an administration that is literally for the people. But you got the people who are the most in power acting a goddamn fool. And that makes this little social war very unique because typically it's the people at the bottom. But now we got people who actually in power, who are homicidal too, who are blood hungry, bloodthirsty, who are hate filled. And they are the ones who are in the control towers. They're the one that got the gaming control in their hand. They're the ones who have the fucking authority. And right now it's being grossly abused. But let me get to some of the other panelists too, and I'm gonna circle back to you, boo.
No problem, babe. You do that.
Aruma's in T. Welcome to the platform, boo. Sound off.
Hey, Conscious. Hey, Conscious Girl. Like and share this video, and please leave your offering at the throne.
Please.
Okay. So Tyler, you asked a question in regards to him being like in the middle.
Yes.
I urge anyone that's listening to this live who knows nothing about the Mormon community to please do your due diligence. It is my belief that this young man definitely struggled. It seems like to me, he may have been living a double life. I don't know if his parents, his family, if they knew, although we have no definitive proof that this person, this roommate, this companion, was actually or in fact is trans. But if that is the case, there has been historically people that leave the Mormon community, or even those that struggle with leaving, because it's not easy to leave the Mormon community. He still had ties to that community, hence him having the relationship he had with his parents, right? So I can see that. However, he was
like.
Right. I can see however he was able, because there are sectors of the Mormon community that, although it is cult-like, they're not caged in. I think a lot of times people think that there's still like gates around these communities and people cannot leave. No, they have modernized. You know the word I'm trying to use. They have evolved to be more modern. Hence the whole conservative, because most Mormons are really not conservative. They don't believe in the conservationships. Honestly, they don't. And for them to, his family to have, quote unquote, this conservative background would mean that they're more out in the world, but still separate, right? He probably more than likely met this individual, this partner, and discovered all, like you were saying earlier, that all that I've been taught and raised to believe is not true. And he found comfort in this person. Now, it is my belief that when he contacted, quote unquote, the friend, the partner, it was, in my opinion, it was to offer him the protection by eliminating him having any awareness or any participation in what he had just done. That is my personal belief, that his family may not have known about this individual, quote unquote, being trans or trans identifying, because there will be repercussions. Even if, Kit Tyler, as you were reading, was even contemplating unaliving himself. But there had to be a thought in his mind that my friend, my companion, my partner will be in jeopardy if and when it comes out that I was the unaliver. So although he did not say that in the text, the energy I received from the text messages was that was his way of providing this person with protection. He knew that was going to be the narrative. If he was a part of the whole, Groyper, Gooper community, whatever they call, if he was a part of that, which is more extreme than quote unquote MAGA, which was more because their leader did not like Charlie Kirk. And the information I sent to you, how they feel like, it's almost as if, in layman's terms, they're not doing enough. They're just talking the talk, but they're not doing enough. These are the ones that are actually willing to, unalive themselves, go to the extremes. And I feel like he literally had a moment that he saw an opportunity. It definitely was not planned out. I don't believe this was months and months of planning something or whatever the case may be. The opportunity was there. He took it just because this person was speaking against, it was like two things being true at one time. I don't think that you are willing to go to bat for what you're saying in reference to Charlie. And then the irony of you also speaking against something and someone that I love, a group of people that I'm finding myself to be comfortable with, that I'm feeling love and being seen. So now you just have to go.
I'm gonna tell you, what is almost giving me. It's almost giving me that in his heart, he did this as an act of love for his lover, who is a part of a particular demographic. And now, to your point, himself also is a part of a particular demographic that is not welcome within the culture of extreme alt-right. And to your point about reaching out to the trans partner, because he knew that if he got caught, this was going to be the narrative and people were going to be putting two and two together, and he knew what MAGA and the Charlie Kirks was going to do. He had to clear her. And also, in his heart, do the right thing. If this is the person that he has, to your point, made community with, confess to her in case something happens to him, and something's going to happen to him regardless. He's either going to get locked up for the rest of his life, or he's going to be unalived in this process, or he may take his own life. And he wanted to give her closure and make sure that she understood what he did, why he did it, almost like his last hoorah before the shitstorm really begins. But it's given dark version of Romeo and Juliet, even though the partner didn't know anything about this, but in his heart, he decided bitch, I'm not gonna let you fuck with my bitch, and the bitches like my bitches, because my bitch got to live in this world too. She got to navigate this system, and you extreme homophobic, transphobic motherfuckers are not going to make life hard for the person that I love the most. And one thing that I know about really entitled white people is that white people deeply believe in their convictions. Right, wrong, or in motherfucking different. And they believe in their convictions so fucking deeply that they will literally scale them walls. They will put that barrel to their motherfucking mouth, and they literally will embody over my dead body. When white people mean business, they stand on that business in the most extreme kind of a way, because that's just the privilege of whiteness to be that entitled, and when shit is glitching and don't work like it should in white consciousness, we always get these type of adverse responses and adverse reactions. The insurrectioners is an extreme example of that. These polls with 73% of these acts are carried out by white supremacist groups, deeply indoctrinized white consciousness individuals. And that's why we keep saying, America, y'all got a problem, baby. And baby, y'all gonna have to start with the top, girl, to figure out what the fuck the problem is, because it's the majority in this country that needs to be inspected, that it's time to put into a test tube and figure out what the fuck is creating this. And that white commentator who was given a breakdown on the Groper's culture, who said, look, until we deal with the root of the issue, which is this dis-ease, this loneliness, this perpetual self-isolation, that's all coming from sexism, homophobia, racism, etc. It's coming from all these weakened parts of our infrastructure. As a society, we're going to continue to have this fucking issue. That's something that I've been fucking saying for fucking years. Like, we're dealing with the symptoms when we're talking about gun reform. We're dealing with the symptoms when we are even talking about banning guns from white men, because that still won't really even cure the actual issue if we don't address what's feeding and leading to this state of consciousness. And the solution to that simply is censor the fucking internet so that young white people, or young people in general, cannot be radicalized by these deep state digital cultures that play off of this loneliness and isolation and this othering. And two, because that's going to like prohibit, well, it ain't even gonna completely prohibit it, because it's also being, this idea is being passed down amongst white people that there is a genocide that's coming, that they're losing the race war, that they're losing their superiority. This is why they have it out for immigrants and have it out for people of other ethnicities, because they believe they're participating in a doctrine behind Christianity that's influencing them to believe that they're literally losing their footing, they're losing their placement in this land that they also fucking stole. It's not even truly theirs. Coupled with the fact that we need to also improve life generally. That's the biggest issue here, is censoring the internet to a degree and improving the actual quality of fucking life. Because I can't get away, Rumors and Tea, from this thought that as long as we live in a system where people get to literally debate people's humanity, America is going to have this perpetual descent into hell. We just can't afford it. We can't do it anymore. It's costing our children. It's costing our landscape, and everybody from the left and the right is paying for this fucking disaster. I mean, this is the way out for everybody. It's for us all to allow ourselves to trauma bond under the truth right now. White people are slowly waking up. MAGA is slowly waking up. There is a slow awakening happening, but baby, white people got a problem with white people right now. As I said earlier, all skin folk and kin folk for them too, baby, because Tyler is one of theirs. He's one of theirs, girl, and he is imploding along with all those other grope culture, Reddit, 4chan, indoctrinated ass young white people who are collapsing Master's house from the inside out. They're the ones who are setting fire to this shit.
It's almost like I'll use this metaphor, cooking a roast. You know, you put the roast on first and you let that cook before you add all the other ingredients, the vegetables and potatoes, you know, because you don't want those to overcook. And every other ethnicity has pretty much been put in a pot been roasted, and as each ingredient was put in, each vegetable was put in, right? They got to feel. This is what we're experiencing right now in America. They're now getting to feel. It was all funny when it was happening to others, but now that it's happening to them, it's like now you feel that it is how hot it is in this pot. You know, we've been in this pressure cooker since they brought us here. You know, so they're getting a taste, and I see why that particular the right side is so discombobulated and in disbelief. Not all of them, but the ones that are trying to create, this is not real, these text messages are not real, this can't be, etc., because the reality is it had to be someone else. It could not be one of us. They never want to accept it. And when it is one of them, they have to throw, you know, they have to look for something to make that person a part of the minority. This person is not one of us. See, I told you, they're not one of us. But the reality of it all is that absolutely, and it's more to come. What is disheartening to me is how the fact that a lot of people just cannot see black and white. They're searching for too many gray areas. Some things are just that simple, black and white. It may have some complexities to it, but it's not heavy. That black shade is just as dark, and the white shade is just as light. Like it's not that complicated. And also, I want people to think about what both of those content creators said, the white one and also the black one. Both of those young men. This has been going on forever. We're talking about well over darn near 20 years. Just about. Some of this, they were showing images for 2013. That's been, about 12, 13 years, whatever the case may be. We have to really take inventory and stockpile it and put it under lock and key to remember the fact that these are the people that are now adults that are wreaking havoc. And regardless if it is good, like their intentions are good, or if it's not, they are extremists. To get their point across, they're going to do the extremes. So we haven't seen the worst of it. We already know that. But stop looking for simplicity. Complication in simplicity. Like the young man made it known why he did what he did ultimately. And it's just that simple. But we have more to come. I really do want people to look beyond just, the triple Ks and, the MAGA, because there are sectors within sectors within sectors. We have no clue ultimately, because we don't know. They're very open with their rhetoric, but it for some reason, it passes our ears. Our eyes don't comprehend it or something. I don't know what it is about not accepting what is right in front of our face that we have a hard time. Now, by all means, ask questions, but we have a hard time accepting, because there's going to be some more different sectors that we're about to be introduced to. There are a lot of people that knew nothing about the groper. I didn't know about them until today, and I did a little research, and I'm not surprised, because I know that these have been, like you said, people that for whatever reason they felt isolated from the world. They spent majority of their days when they're not in school or at work. They sit in front of a laptop. They get in these chats and they talk, and they come up with all type of rhetorics and plans, and just even if they don't implement it at the time, they literally sit there and it's like the Hunger Games almost. They sit there and they feed off of each other's bitterness and trauma and rejection and all of those things or whatever, and it's almost like it's a ticking time bomb. Mm-hmm. So whenever our opportunity presents itself, and I feel like ultimately, yes, we're talking about human beings, but there's a darker energy.
Because it's a bunch of unwell people dealing with all type of emotional and psychological trauma who are finding community rather than finding actual help. And that is what makes it such a ticking time bomb in terms of this 4chan Reddit culture, is you have all these people who need to be in therapy, and along with a society that needs to be improving, that are breeding and communing amongst each other rather than having their ass on a treatment plan. And because that level of psychosis and disillusionment is going unchecked, is going without a check and balance, it's going without accountability, because you just have people who are unhinged communing together, who are festering in all of this discomfort and dis-ease. Yes, that's absolutely a recipe for absolute fucking disaster, because these people are not well. But even in their unwellness is the result of a society that's also not well. It's
right.
the result of politics and legislations and social responses to people who are considered different or other that are not well. It's like one unwell thing is giving birth to another unwell thing that's giving birth to another unwell thing. And the clear thinking people have to be able to look at the totality of what's going on here and say, this 4chan culture, this right extremist culture that is breeding and brewing and stewing in hate and resulting in violence, is also the result of a lot of shit outside in the mainstream culture. Like, there is a correlation, and one almost definitely has something to do with the fucking other. That's why I don't believe in resolving this issue by simply focusing on the perpetrators, because the perpetrators also like responding to something that's sicker than them in this whole mix, and that is American politics, and that is the way that America is organized, in a way that is able to organize and placate and capitalize off of the division that's caught and created by the political violence of voting and American politics. Like, as far as I'm concerned, American politics is just as psychotic. Like, it's just like the socially acceptable way to be hateful. Like, honestly, to be Republican and to be right-leaning is a 4chan Reddit group. It's just a socially acceptable version of that group, while the actual 4chan and Reddit culture is like the fully unhinged, explicit expression of conservativeness and white supremacy. America does not want to address the right and its inherent ugliness in and of itself. And I think that this country is just given too much fucking agency and license for people to be legally hateful and legally, socially offensive. And I think it's preposterous as a Black American that people can take their ass to the voting booth and disguise their hate as, allegiance to their party, knowing that voting that way is going to cost me and mine. I think it's preposterous that people get to vote on my right to marry as a queer person. I think it's preposterous that this society gets to vote on rather women should have anatomical authority over their own fucking bodies, for God's sakes. Like, I find the ability, the literal right to do this to be fucking insane. Like, it is literally as insane to me as the conversation around the 4chan Reddit culture. I look at pockets of mainstream American culture and find it just as fucking evil and just as outrageous and just as outlandish. Like, this is fucking outlandish. But America think it can afford it. So now we're paying the price for it.
Yeah, I'm going to go on mute since I'm not, so others can talk or whatever. But I'll wait till you come back around. Spin the block.
All right, Rashonda, welcome to the platform. Thoughts on the shenanigans of it all?
Hey, Conscious. Hey, panel. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hey, Rashonda.
I feel like America has felt like they've been entitled to be hateful, be mean, be judgmental, which cause an infection. And it's like like when you get an infection, it spreads. So basically, this particular guy, he felt like he was entitled to do what he did because of how he felt. You get what I'm saying? Versus as when he felt some type of way. So basically what I'm saying, he felt some type of way. He felt entitled, and he didn't like the views of that what he said, and which was a recipe for disaster, because there was a time that you could say your opinion and not be offended, or people just had their own opinion about everything, and there was no judgment. You get what I'm saying? But now it's like, in these days and times, you could say the littlest thing, and it'll upset somebody. And my thing is, regardless of how you felt, see, he felt like, okay, he basically was trying to set him up so he could feel entitled to do what he did. And I feel like there's still no reason to do what he did, because if the shoe was on the other foot, he would have a fit. You get what I'm saying?
I'm sorry to cut you off. Are you talking about Tyler?
No, I'm talking about that guy. Yeah. Because the thing is, he felt like, okay, you got to look at how he asked the question, or or how he felt beforehand. They say he had messages on Facebook of how he felt about what he had said, because Charlie had been spreading this hate for months and years. You get what I'm saying? This is something that was known, and it wasn't new. So I felt like it was an opportunity. I felt like he did his research on him. He said, okay, he gonna be here. I'm gonna get my chance to do what I need to do. You get what I'm saying? So, we all have to understand, just because you feel a certain way, this is as a whole, just because we feel a certain way, you don't have the right to be entitled to go and hurt somebody, or to do what you need to do because the person has an opinion. I feel like it's one-sided. You see what I'm saying? One-sided. And go ahead.
I didn't want to cut you off because everybody else been talking for minutes and stuff. I think the difference with this situation is because he was a part of MAGA in a sense. supporter. You have to look at the leader, not just the leader, but the leaders in all the groups that these people engage in. He acted out what he's been taught, what they support, even quote unquote Mr. Charlie himself. I agree with you overall. From a human standpoint, we don't have a right to unalive someone or cause any physical injury to someone for whether it's hate speech or not. We don't have that right. However, there is a thing, law of average. You know, what you put out, the energy you put out shall be returned to you.
And their Bibles tell them that a man reapeth what he soweth.
So it's kind of hard for me personally. Like, this is one time that my humanity has not activated where I can find, quote, the very thing that he could not acknowledge, didn't believe in. I can't find empathy. Now, I'm not up here celebrating, but I cannot find, because it's like me arguing with someone who has a certain belief system, and that belief manifested, and it may not manifest in a positive way for that person, but it manifests itself. How am I going to be upset at something that this individual not only believed, but he perpetuated? He basically went on a campaign to perpetuate this belief system.
I don't think that people who have been victimized by Charlie Kirk's messaging have an obligation to be to feel like Charlie Kirk had a hateful legacy. We all agree that he should not have had to lose his life, but we also all agree that as a result of what Charlie Kirk preached and pushed, that he was destroying people's lives. Like, this man also passed legislation. He helped to pass legislation. Like, he wasn't even just a social media commentator. And if you've been affected by somebody who has chosen to be a problem, like feeling indifferent or even feeling relieved that the problem has been neutralized, it's fundamentally okay. To Ruma's point, you don't have to celebrate it, but you could too if you wanted to, because whenever the devil doesn't get to have victory in our lives, we typically do celebrate. Whenever we can see the enemy after us and the enemy doesn't get to have its way, we typically do celebrate. So even if you wanted to celebrate, I mean, you could, it's fine. Because see, the people who preach in that whole empathy shit regarding Charlie Kirk and trying to police minority people's feelings are people who have the privilege of doing that. They often are the people who have the privilege economically or culturally or ethnically to be able to feel that way, because it wasn't them getting their ass whooped. It wasn't them getting lynched down. It wasn't them. Just like now we have an issue, right, going on in Mississippi where a black kid was found hanging. We have we have an issue. We have an issue with white news anchors saying out loud on syndicated television that poor people should be genocided. That's the way that we should resolve poverty, is by unaliving poor people. Now, if a bunch of unhinged, unwell, immature, indoctrinated weirdos took that messaging and then went out and started executing.
All conscious, they did. You didn't see that news?
Well,
I'll send it to you.
I did see that, but apparently, like some other bits of information came out that said that I don't know, but I'm just making a point that if like people went out and executed poor people, do you think poor people are going to feel away if that news anchor got popped? If the people who are pushing a rhetoric that fucks with people's lives in an objective way are neutralized in any way, whether they're fired, whether they're unalive, I don't personally expect that from the people who are bullied to be held to the standard of empathy. But I also, because two things can be true at the same time. We can agree that Charlie Kirk shouldn't have lost his life, but we also can agree that Charlie Kirk should not have been participating in problematic rhetoric that also disrupts other people's lives. But I think because of the way that he is shaped and divided, that we think there has to be one over the other. Like, no, he should not have been murdered, but also he should not be participating in a regime, and he should not be participating in hateful rhetoric that's literally turning into hate crimes against other human beings, because all of that is tangible, measurable hate and injury.
So I had a question. So my thing is, so with the situation, do you think that by people being or feeling like they're entitled to do what they do and spread hateful messages, do you think that at some point it should be a law or some kind of consequences for them? Because I've noticed even in Mississippi, with the hanging, they basically covering it up. And I live in Mississippi, so they covering it up. And you done had two people been hung in two different cities in Mississippi. So it's like you got this group that want to spread hate. You got this group who feel like they entitled to spread hate, and then you got these other people who basically feel like, okay, we're not gonna say anything. You see what I'm saying? So that plays a part in it as well. Especially when you got all these people who have these views and feel like they entitled and feel like, okay, basically they get off on hurting people. And at the same time, they feel like, okay, I can't be touched. And that's part of the reason why we in the situation we in right now. You got a lot of people that's entitled, feel like they can't be touched, want power with no consequences. So my question is, do you feel like
Yes, it all has to be pushed back against. We can't consider political violence to just be when somebody is physically harmed as a result of a political motivation. We have to consider the harm that's done to people's lives through legislation of all kinds to be political violence. This country, as I said before, does not have a shared ethics, and that's the problem with the American voting system as a whole. And because we don't have a shared ethics, it means that you get to feel very differently about human rights and who should be afforded human rights than I do. And I can use my personal beliefs as a way to bully you politically and through legislation. And that type of individuality and that type of privilege has created lunacy in this country. It all goes back to the root of how we even are able to vote against and for each other, and the way we're able to be compartmentalized in that booth and stand on different grounds ethically and morally. And it's destroying this fucking country as a result of us not having a real shared ethics and a real shared morality. So yeah, until the bullying and the violence is addressed as a whole and not just when it's at the end of a barrel, we're going to have a problem. 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 And we're going to continue to go downhill, in these subcultures within subcultures within subcultures are going to continue to develop. And after a while, America is just going to look like one big ass Gotham. And we're going to have all these weird ass vigilantes like Thomas Matthew Crooks, like Mr. Robinson here, who are going to be taking up the matter themselves. And that's just going to create more upside down, which is not necessary, because all of this stuff puts a hit on all of it puts a hit on all of our heads. That this is not the pathway forward, even though the behavior is understandable. It's understandable that people are afraid. People are responding to extreme fear, to extreme fear mongering. People are responding to real life political violence being done against them. Like I keep saying, 17 million motherfucking Americans will be without insurance next year. People are going to die under this administration. The fact that Donald Trump rolled over affirmative action and DEI just allows, because America is mostly owned by white people, this allows white supremacy to legally discriminate. That's what rolling over DEI was about, allowing white supremacists who mostly run the fucking country and is mostly responsible for employment to legally not have to hire your black ass or your Latino ass or your female ass or so on and so on to so on. Your gay ass, your trans ass, da 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 da. This shit is politically violent. That's politically violent. This is horrendous. And America better start doing a goddamn moonwalk. But it's looking like this is actually their whole point. This is their agenda. And that's why now conversations are being started on just collapsing the whole system before they get to fully do it on their own terms. Because if they get to do it on their own terms, we really won't have a foot to stand on. If we rip the country away from them before they get a chance to, if we pull out of this matrix, if we crash the fucking economy ourselves, if we pull out of it and keep them from getting to that threshold to where they don't need us, that gives us ample opportunity to elongate the Reconstruction era that America needs. But if we allow them to really use us to play into all of this, we continue to pour and eat from their table. We continue to pour into their economy. This is something that will only be used against us. It's only going to benefit them. And we're going to be iced out in the fucking end. If we're going down, then the rule of thumb is, bitch, they need to go down with us. We're going to go down together, baby. But you're not going without us. You're not going without us. You're either going down with us, or we're all going wherever you're going together. But you're not going to send us into the abyss and then sell off into the sunset. If now the agenda needs to be, if we can't have it, bitch, no one fucking can. None of us can.
That part. That part. And then conscious this too. America has so many secrets. I found out so much information that they didn't tell us. You get what I'm saying? I found out just to give y'all a tad bit how corrupt that America really is. There's 7 copies of the Bill of Rights. 7 copies. They claim they lost them. Guess where they at? Guess where some of them at? Behind Rush. I can't see it. Rush Mount. You know what I'm trying to say. It's a
Mount
tunnel,
Rushmore.
y'all.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Yes, it's a tunnel, a long tunnel, and they say it's secrets behind them. So it's a lot of stuff that America's not telling us. And Cat Williams said it best. They lie and tell us the truth at the same time. So if you ain't got sense enough to find out the truth, you will forever be dumb. You will forever not know what's going on. See, we have to do our own research for real, so we can be prepared, so we can have more intelligence, so we can be able to outsmart what's going on. It's like wrong is right and right is wrong, but we getting the intelligent people getting messed up because we know the truth. You can't make an intelligent person dumb by telling them, "Hey, we see what's going on." We not gonna believe the intelligent people. We not gonna believe what's going on just because you tell us this. You get me?
Truth is empowerment. Information is empowerment, and absolutely, we have to smarten up, and we have to understand. In order to destroy your opponent, you have to understand and know the inner workings and the outer workings.
Exactly.
So understanding the way the system works, who benefits from the system, is literally our blueprint to the promised land, because we get to target all of the systems that they benefit from and that keep them in power. All right, I got to move on to Queen of Topics. Queen of Topics, your thoughts quickly, my love.
Hey, boo. Hey, Conscious crew. I've been sitting here listening, and a couple things that I wanted to touch on was people like Charlie Kirk are disruptors. You got Trump, he's a disruptor. Candace Owens, she's definitely a disruptor. And I don't know if people saw it, but going viral today, it's all the stuff that Charlie Kirk has said about Black women, and all of these things. And as a Black woman, here I am sitting here on a platform where I'm gonna say I'm not happy he's dead. I wish that he would have been able to see the wrong and the hate that he was spewing. But even still, he found out that spewing that type of stuff has consequences. And guess what? It didn't come from a Black woman. So what I want people to understand is that being a disruptor gets us nowhere. You can vote for who you want to, like who you like politically, but at the end of the day, all of us are in this together. We're all in this together. It doesn't matter if you're blue, orange, whatever your sexual preference or orientation is, it doesn't matter. We all are in this together. One more thing that I also wanted to touch on was the gun situation, where people are just having the hardest time believing that he was able to hide and masquerade this gun. I would highly encourage people to start getting on YouTube or wherever you do your research at, and pull up videos where people are able to hide big guns. There's literally tons of videos that show you how people are able to hide them. They show you even with women wearing dresses, there's ways to hide them. So this idea that, he couldn't have done it because he was wearing a certain type of clothes or he had to climb a certain type of wall, like y'all just got to do a lot of research. There's so many videos out there showing how this could even be a possibility. Even with school mass shootings, they show how these people were able to get inside of the school and all of these things with these type of large weapons. So it's definitely not impossible.
No, it's not. And the fact that Donald Trump is dismantling the Department of Education and Americans already lack this much common sense.
It's scary.
Yeah, I'm just like, I cannot deal with a completely conspiratorial ass society that literally would choose conspiracy over facts,
Yeah.
or that literally can't even perceive something through common fucking sense. Like the man literally is on DoorDash cam footage limping on his way to the campus. Like clearly he has the gun strapped to the side of his leg and tucked into his shoe in order to anchor it as he is making his way to the campus. He doesn't have a limp. He doesn't have a medical condition. So we know that that's what created the fucking limp. Like, you know, he didn't even have to scale up the building with the gun strapped to his leg. He used stairs in order to get to the rooftop. We can see him in the footage holding the fucking rifle and jumping off the rooftop and throwing the, it's just like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people, but people like brains are fried, including Candace Owens. And yes, you know, people have brought these type of weapons into courthouses, into federal buildings. Like they like, yes, this is a whole entire thing. What are your thoughts about people who just feel like his confession to his lover doesn't make any sense?
I feel like that's just, to me, and I don't want to disrespect anyone for the way that they think, but I think that that's just idiotic thinking that people would say that that can't be a possibility. My thing is this you could put this into any scenario. When you get home from work, you've had a long day. Who is the first person you talk to? Your significant other. Why would it be so hard to believe that this man confessed anything to his partner? It just, I mean, why would people have an issue or believe that that's just out of the realm of possibility? That it doesn't make sense. I definitely do believe that there was a conversation that was had, but I think in regards to his partner, I do believe that part of this was done for the sake of his partner. And a lot of people are saying that they don't think that that could be a possibility because it hasn't been yet disclosed, and he's not, you know, talking all of these things. But I 100% can believe and see him going to his partner and saying, look, this is what it is. I mean, I don't see why that can't be a possibility.
You got to confess to somebody.
Yeah. And the thing, too, that a lot of people have to realize is that sometimes when you do these horrendous things and it's just the most egregious type of act, the best thing for people who've committed those acts is to confess, because they can't sleep. They're seeing their victim. It is so many interviews of people who have unalived people talking about the experience after they, that they've had, after doing something so egregious to someone such as an unaliving. They can't sleep. They're going through it mentally, like, oh my God, I got to tell somebody. I got to get this off my chest. That's why you see in these confessions, interviews with detectives and things, they're just ready to get it off their chest. So I definitely can see all of this. My only thing is, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it again. I wish Charlie survived, because if this is not the most, situation where people should have been able to see that we can't keep treating people any kind of way and affecting people's lives and expecting, things to just be cookies and cream. It's not reality. I wish he would have been able to.
I'm going to tell you exactly why the universe didn't allow him to live through it, because he just would have found a way to deflect the way that the right is doing. Oh, he was radicalized by the left. Like, it would have been, they moved the goalposts all the time. Like, Charlie Kirk is a part of the crew that is reprobate. Like, there is no changing. The worst preposterous thing, like even his wife right now, right? You would think that her goofy ass would be sounding off on gun reform. No, she's leaning in to, oh, we're going to make the movement bigger. Oh, you don't know what you've done. It's just like, all right, these people are literally unrepentant. They're unrepentant and they're incapable of shifting consciousness. And that's why the universe did not allow him to even live as a vegetable to perceive the aftermath of all of this, because there wasn't going to be any shift. He was committed to being right more than he was committed to being ethical.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
And it's unfortunate, and that's kind of like the really scary part about what we're dealing with too, is that we're dealing with an apathetic group of people. We're dealing with the people who don't have empathy. We're dealing with the people who immediately changed the goalposts as soon as they found out that he was white and Mormon and came from MAGA loving parents, and all of a sudden, oh, Charlie Kirk would have wanted us to pray for Trey Robinson. They would have wanted us to pray when they was calling for his head, when they were under the belief that he was an extreme leftist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it's just like, this is really, it's like when all the bad guys have all the superpowers in the city. Like that's what this whole administration and this culture is of Trump. And this is what I was hooting and hollering about last year. And I was sounding off and I was saying, look, it's not that I just don't want Trump in office. I also don't want the culture that comes with Trump.
Exactly.
Because that culture becomes emboldened, irrational, and fucking sane. And it's going to be bigger than Trump. It's going to be people losing their fucking lives in these streets. It's going to be Black people getting popped left and right like they were doing when Trump was in office the first time. Black people couldn't even make a U-turn in a white person's driveway without getting popped. A Black child couldn't even, like, I mean, we were at the height of the Karen epidemic. It was just insane. America was a big ass clown show. And, you know, and now we're back here. And so it's Trump society 2.0. And yeah, it's terrifying that these folk have the government on lock right now.
I agree. I agree 100%.
It's sad. But thank you for your points, boo.
Anytime.
Our rumors, I see you're back, boo. Oh, what's up? Can you hear me, rumors? Okay, I don't know what rumors is, but I got to get out of here, everyone. You know, I just saw a post that they are calling Charlie Kirk their Martin Luther King. So, baby, the prophet was ahead of the curve, y'all. I told y'all, Charlie Luther King. Now there's actual footage and reports of MAGA-loving freaks claiming that Charlie Kirk is their Dr. Luther King. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull this up before I go. I told y'all, Charlie Luther fucking King. Charlie Luther King. Let me show y'all this before I get up out of here. If you guys love the show, y'all know what to do. Thumbs up, Cash App, PayPal, a whole nine, baby. Show the King that it's real. Let me show y'all this. Insane. Insane. Say what? Charlie Kirk supporters say he's our generation's Martin Luther King, girl. While Trump is moving the Martin Luther King statue in every direction in the White House except where it should be. While Charlie Kirk spoke against Dr. King and spoke against the civil rights movement. And yet here it is. These people speak out of both sides of their neck. On one hand, Dr. Martin Luther King ain't fuck DEI, the civil rights movement, blah, 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 whiny Black people. But then Martin Luther King is in fact the damn standard. It's the love-hate for me.
What change was he trying to enact?
So you can say that, like, so are you okay? Can I guess like what you think Charlie thinks? So you're surprised that I'm comparing to MLK because do you think that Charlie was driving races apart?
Oh no, you don't have to like assume what I'm thinking.
Okay, no. So no, we do believe that Charlie was trying to bring us together and he was trying to lift us towards Christ.
But how do you feel about a whole bunch of these quotes that I honestly think divide us as people? Do you guys feel like Charlie was like a hateful person?
No, not at all. No.
Girl, they are holding up Charlie was our Martin Luther King signs while also making Charlie Kirk the model Christian of the country, when everything that Charlie Kirk spoke and believed in was literally against the New Testament teachings of Christ. Literally, Christ was pro-DEI, pro-affirmative action, pro-poor people. He was pro-whores, pro-sinners, pro-gays, pro-others, literally. And they are hailing Charlie Kirk up as their Martin Luther King and as the model Christian of America. Talk about fucking delusional. These people are sick and out of their mind. And look at, and these look like young 22-year-old white men. These are probably Reddit, 4chan, indoctrinated ass individuals who are sucked into the toxic culture of the extremist alt-right internet space. Pathetic, sad, disillusioned, and out of their minds. America, we have a problem if this, in fact, is America. I'm out of here, you guys. Thumbs up, share. I got to go. I'm okay, Ray. I'll check that out. I'll send a video of MLK's niece and her last tribe of ninjas calling him the new MLK. Yeah, send that to me. And I will see you guys in a few, you guys. Peace.